defense, and he's contributed offensively as well. At Target Field in Minneapolis, the New York Mets play the Minnesota Twins. Tonight's game is presented by Moo. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Twin Cities. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as Mets open a 3-game series against the Twins. Last year, the Twins looked like a lock for a postseason berth until mid-August. They went 12-27 down the stretch, finished out of the postseason. They've gotten off to a similar start this year, 5-11 to begin the season, and suddenly there's a lot of pressure here in Minneapolis.
There is. They're only a half game ahead of the Chicago White Sox, who had an abysmal season last year. Everybody knows about. They haven't pitched well, although their starting pitching has picked up. Their bullpen's been very good. They haven't hit. They're not a team with power, and they're not a team that plays good defense. And what does that add up to, Gary? A 5-11 record.
That's a good math equation right there, Keith. So the Mets were trying to pick up their own offense, scored 8 runs yesterday in Sacramento against the A's, and a couple of the younger players who've been struggling, Mark Vientos and Brett Baty, had extra base hits late in the game.
Well, they've both been really struggling from the beginning, and particularly Baty. That was a big triple for him there in the 9th inning. Vientos, I feel, has been hitting in bad luck. He's swinging the bat. I'm not worried about him, but it's good to get him going. They need these two guys, particularly Vientos, to have the kind of year he had last year.
Mets have started to get their starters deeper into games. David Peterson went 6 innings on Saturday. Kodai Senga 7 yesterday. Today, Clay Holmes tries to match that.
Well, Holmes' problem has been he hasn't gone deep into games. He's got 14 2/3 innings pitched. The 9 walks have really hampered him. A lot of men on base. He seems to tucker out in the 5th or 6th inning, but he's pitched better in every start. This is a good one for him to get it rolling.
With Pablo Lopez on the injured list, Joe Ryan is the Twins' best starter. He's got that invisible ball he throws up in the zone.
Water polo player in his day, and he throws like he's in a swimming pool. Right over the top, high riding fastball. That's his big out pitch. 17 innings pitched, 0 walks.
It's a cold, windy night in the Twin Cities. Temperature in the 40s with the wind howling. Mets and Twins opening a series. All the action coming your way tonight on SNY.
Bonder families like mine. your dollars. Stop and Shop. Feed the moment.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Tri-State Cadillac dealers. Spring is the season for new beginnings. Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer today. By Spectrum, a fast and reliable connection making more things possible. Spectrum. By Sage, the official finance software partner of Major League Baseball. And by your local Honda dealers. Contact your local Honda dealer today. Suit up this season at MLBShop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic jerseys, caps, hoodies, t-shirts, and more. Visit MLBShop.com, the official source for your Mets gear. Around the majors, presented by Moo. Well, the Padres are 10-0 at home. They have 6 shutouts in their first 16 games. Only the second team in history to do that, the 1966 Cleveland Indians. We'll talk more about that later. Jock Peterson struggling. The Rockies, well, they got shut out all 3 games in San Diego. That wasn't good. Sean Murphy had a home run tonight, and the Braves have an early lead. Francisco Lindor and the Mets getting set to face the Twins. First pitch from Minneapolis is coming.
One for around $4.89 per.
Nationwide.
So Harrison Bader in that little sizzle bump. He's now a Minnesota Twin. Met fans have made their way to the Twin Cities to root for their team, and they brought, I hope, enough clothes because it is really cold out there. Same kind of cold and windy conditions we had last week at Citi Field when Clay Holmes pitched, and he kind of had to abandon his sinker in that game. The difference here is even though the wind's blowing 20 miles an hour, it's blowing across the field from left toward right, and the bowl of the stadium takes up most of the wind. So should not be a huge factor for the pitchers tonight, but it is still awfully chilly, especially after the Mets came from 80-degree temperatures in Sacramento yesterday. Here's the Honda Mets starting lineup for the Mets. Jose Siri still active, but may be headed for the injured list. He went for a CT and an MRI today on that bruised shin. So Tyrone Taylor gets another start in center field. Luis Angel Acuna at second base. And Jesse Winker back in the lineup for the first time in a week. He's been under the weather as the Mets face off for the first time ever against 28-year-old Joe Ryan.
Francisco with 2 hits in yesterday's ball game. Nice line drive double into left center field. And there's your starting pitcher, Joe Ryan. He was originally drafted by Texas in the 7th round, was traded over for Nelson Cruz and Calvin Fauché, the Miami Marlin. He's been here for 4 years with the Twins, and the defense brought to you, whether or not we have no sponsor, it's brought to you by SNY. You got Christian Vasquez behind the plate. You got Correa, who's a Gold Glover. I mean, Wilson Pickett at short. Every much the bit of Francisco Lindor. Buxton, of course, can go get him. And Matt Wallner out in right has a cannon of an arm. Thank you, SNY.
Well, I mean, SNY is basically funding our existence. So why shouldn't they sponsor the defense?
I'm very appreciative, too.
Just a small gathering here. The Twins have not been winning. Rocco Baldelli now in his 7th year as manager. 3 division titles in the first 6 years. But as we mentioned last year, they were 70-53 on August 17th. Went 12-27 down the stretch. Finished 82-80, and they have not hit to start this year. They are a team very dependent on 3 stars who have trouble staying on the field. Royce Lewis is out right now. Carlos Correa and Brian Buxton, both of whom are playing but not producing. Here's Lindor, who had hits, 2 of them yesterday after going 0 for the first 2 games in Sacramento. Joe Ryan about set to go on a cool night in Minnesota. First pitch is a little bit outside for ball 1, and we're underway. Officially 48 degrees at game time as Ryan catches the inside corner for a strike. Ryan is not a hard thrower. His average fastball velocity is under 93, but he likes to pitch up in the zone, and he's got a lot of backspin on the ball, and it seems to rise uncharacteristically.
Well, that means that he's sneaky. You got a sneaky fastball.
Spectrum high-speed pitching. He throws that fastball a higher percentage than any starter in the majors, even more than Hunter Green, who throws 100 miles an hour. And Lindor pops one foul back and out of play, and it's 1-2.
It's got a nice, easy, fluid motion, Gare, and that ball just takes off. You can tell on TV, at least I can. I don't know about you folks at home, but
well, you're an expert.
Well, yeah. Thank you.
Lindor takes the cutter low and inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Soto on deck. Alonso behind him. Ryan off to a great start. 2.65 ERA, no walks, 15 strikeouts in his first 3 starts, but he has a habit of getting off to fast starts. Lindor cracks one out to right center field. Back in the gap, Buxton near the wall, and it's off the fence. Lindor heads for second, and he's in standing with a leadoff double. So Francisco Lindor delivers the keynote with his 4th double of the year.
Got a high fence out in right field from right center over down the line, and there's a fastball out over the plate, not up enough. Francisco clocks it. Wind is blowing out to right field today, but Francisco hit that ball with authority.
So a runner in scoring position for the Mets, who have had trouble getting him in. In fact, Juan Soto's looking for his first hit this year with a runner in scoring position, and he tries to bunt with the third baseman Lee playing back and fouls it off.
He does that a lot. He's been on 3 or 4 times this year. He's been struggling against right-handers, Gare. He's hitting .500 against lefties. The problem is the Mets have hardly faced left-handers. He's 5 for 10 against lefties.
And 2 left-handed starters against the Mets so far this year. Correa playing right behind the bag, almost up the middle against Soto, as far as you're allowed to go. And Ryan gets ahead on Soto 0-2.
Now, Soto got robbed yesterday on a line drive up the middle, a kind of a knocked up in the air, and the shortstop recovered and made the catch off his line drive.
Correa and Lindor keeping up a steady stream of conversation. Soto lifts one down the left field line in foul territory. Lee giving it a run and can't quite get there.
That's a tough play for the third baseman.
Nice effort by Brooks Lee, who just came back from the injured list yesterday. He was down with a back problem, and he had to run a country mile for this ball and almost got to it.
Yeah, he replaced Jose Miranda, who was sent down Sunday. Jose was hitting only 167, made a base running blunder. He thought he was forced out at second base against the Tigers, and he was ruled safe. And guess what? When he trotted back to the dugout, he was tagged out. Lindor does not get the lead behind the baseline, which is unusual.
Soto lifts one in foul ground, and this one will head out of play.
So Juan is not right now. I sense him kind of opening that front shoulder. If you watch Soto hit, he really leans back on that back foot. He's so widespread, and he's just been flying the shoulder out, and therefore the bat lags, and he's been hitting a lot of balls in the air. But it's just a matter of time for him to get right.
And even more widespread with 2 strikes. Takes a slider down and it's 1-2.
You know, whatever works, there he is down there, really crouched. From the waist down, the crouch. From the waist up, it's not bent over. There's a big article about his 2-strike approach, which I think was just a fantastic story. How he was taught 2-strike hitting in the minor leagues when he first came up, and really it's just different terminology than when I played, but it's really the same philosophy, same approach, 2-strike approach that I had, except I didn't get as widespread as Juan.
And he takes a fastball for strike 3 call, and so Ryan has the first out via the strikeout. After a couple of splitters, maybe he was looking for another one and threw him a fastball that stayed in the strike zone.
You know, when you're struggling, you get pitches to hit, Gary, and you foul them back, or you swing and miss, and you allow the pitcher another opportunity to make his pitch, and that was knee-high outside corner. Good pitch.
So now Pete Alonso. He took an 0 for the last 2 days, but even in his 0-fers the last 2 days, he had good at-bats. Working a lot of deep counts, fouling off a lot of tough pitches. Still off to a great start. 6th in the league in on-base percentage, 3rd in slugging. And he takes a sinker for a strike, and it's 1-1.
All of a sudden, after Lindor, it looks like Ryan has kind of dialed up his fastball a little bit, even though the velocity on the screen there doesn't reflect it.
Here are the Met fans. As Alonso takes low and away, 2 balls and a strike.
18 RBI for Pete. He has been really clutch, getting the big hits, and big hits with 3 home runs with runners in scoring position.
Tied for 2nd in the league in runs batted in. Lindor at 2nd with 1 out, and Pete swings and misses at a fastball right in the middle of the zone. 2-2. See, that's that pitch that has so much ride to it.
Yep, up and in. That's a good one. Right there, gun the corner too. He's not afraid to throw the heater. That's for sure. I love it.
So Ryan, 28 years old, 5th year with the Twins.
It's a San Franciscan.
Missed the last couple of months last year with a teres major strain. We learned that terminology when Max Scherzer was battling that.
I already forgot about that a long time ago.
And that's ball 4. The first walk of the season for Joe Ryan. A very close pitch on 3-2. And Alonso's on with the free pass. So after going 17 1/3 innings without walking a batter, Ryan issues his first of the year.
And that, according to the box, let's That looked like it had the corner.
Vasquez had to reach for it, which probably influenced the home plate umpire,
Yep.
Adam Hammer.
He was set up inside.
So now Nimmo, who had 2 home runs in Sacramento, he swings and misses at a high fastball. As your umpiring crew, Adam Hammery has the plate, Nestor Ceja, the crew chief Todd Tishner, and Hunter Wendelstedt rounding out the crew. Lindor at second, Alonso at first, and Nimmo fouls back another high fastball, and quickly it's 0-2. Nets are all seeing Ryan for the first time, with the exception of Soto and Winker. They're the only 2 guys who've ever faced this right-hander before. And I would imagine for a guy who is not a conventional pitcher, you need to see him a little bit. The splitter misses down. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
So he's a pitcher that needs to stay up in the strike zone.
Fastball's up, splitters down, and he goes upstairs to get Nimmo on the foul tip for strike 3. So Ryan has a couple of strikeouts, 2 out.
High target, and he should live up there. He threw it right by Brandon. And for all you folks that were around in the 80s, it's much like how Sid Fernandez pitched. Sid was so effective up in the letters.
Mark Vientos takes a high strike. Vientos just 1 for 20 with runners in scoring position. Mets came in as a team hitting just 163 in RBI situations. And they're 0 for 2 already in this inning, as that one misses up and away, ball and a strike.
He's a little bit unhappy with Adam Hamari behind the plate right now. That he wants that outside strike. Thought he had it with Pete when he walked him. Thought he had one there.
26th pitch of the inning coming for Ryan. And Vientos takes a rip at a fastball. Nothing, 1-2.
And he throws that fastball inside, Gary. It runs in. It all up and in. It runs. He's got good command.
Chance to get through this inning now. Ahead on Vientos, 1-2. And Mark hits one on the ground. Correa to his left. He'll go to first with it and get the out to retire the side. Mets squander a leadoff double. Clay Holmes to the mound when we come back.
State Farm is there.
Hot dogs, get your hot dogs here. Sometimes those suits come in handy.
What is on top
cold,
of
windy night?
What's on top of his head?
That's the casing of the hot dog, like a the sausage.
I am unfamiliar.
You get fresh hot dogs from the butcher shop. That's how they come.
Okay.
Hyundai starting lineup for the Twins. They dropped Matt Wallner from the leadoff spot yesterday. They got a win, so they'll do it again today with Edward Julian leading off against Clay Holmes, and he takes a strike. Julian DHing today. He's been one of the hotter hitters for the Twins early in the season. Fouls back a high fastball, and it's 0-2.
And there's the Toyota numbers on Clay, and I mentioned in the open the 9 walks and not going deep in games. This is his 4th start and only 14 2/3.
Changeup fouled off by Julian. Edouard Julien, born in Quebec City, didn't speak a word of English when he went to Auburn. Now he's proficient in English and he's working on Spanish. And he strikes out on the changeup. So Clay Holmes using that new pitch, that kick change, to get his first strikeout.
Well, the last start for Holmes against the Marlins. Had strong first 4 innings. Got in trouble in the 5th. Razabon came in and gave up the home run, and 2 of his runs were involved in that inning. He pitched better than his numbers after that game.
Byron Buxton fouls off a sinker. The oft-injured Buxton has been healthy this year, but off to a slow start. He did homer yesterday, but hitting just .192. One of the most talented players in all of baseball just has not been able to stay on the field. Last year, Buxton played in 102 games. It was the 2nd time in a 10-year career he'd played 100 or more games. It's 2 out of 10 played 100 or more.
He can fly.
I mean, the list of injuries that he has suffered in his professional career, I wrote them all down today, and they took up half a page, just abbreviating virtually every part of his anatomy. And he chops one foul outside third. Here it is. Okay. Shoulder, wrist, concussion, finger, groin, broken toe, shoulder surgery, wrist, concussion, foot, shoulder, hip, fractured hand, knee, hip, knee surgery, rib, second knee surgery, and last year hip. Here's strike 3 called. Got him looking at a slider, and Holmes has back-to-back strikeouts to start his night.
And the defense brought to you by Genesis. And you got Luis Torrens, who can throw. That kind of eliminates the stolen base game. Lindor, of course, at short. Taylor getting the start in center field can go get him.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Willie Castro. You know, there are a lot of teams that have utility guys who they call a Swiss Army knife. Willie Castro fills the bill better than anybody in history. Last year, he played 25 or more games at 5 different positions, the first player in Major League history to do that. And he tops one up the first baseline, a foul ball, and it's 0-2. Juan Soto looking a little chilled.
Ase Frio.
Well, the Mets looked like they had escaped the cold when they headed to Sacramento, where it was gorgeous for 3 days, but here we are back in the ice box. Supposed to be a little warmer tomorrow, and then it should be nice for the day game on Wednesday, but first they got to get through tonight. Holmes, who pitched in the cold last time out, throws the changeup and gets a swinging strike at Castro, and Holmes strikes out the side in the opening inning. Neat start for Holmes. No score. Second inning, no score. Jesse Winker takes a slider for a strike from Joe Ryan. Winker back in the lineup for the first time since a week ago, Monday against the Marlins. He's been down with an intestinal virus. Had one pinch hitting assignment in Sacramento, but feeling a little better today and ready to go. Winker, Torrens, and Taylor against Ryan, who threw 27 pitches in the first inning. Comes inside with the fastball, and it's 1-2.
This is a nice ballpark. I haven't been back here. I didn't make the trip 2 years ago. It was you and Ron.
Nope, I wasn't here either.
But it's a nice park. I like this park.
Last time we were here was in 2019 when Pete Alonso hit a ball into the third deck in left field. Taken high by Winker, 2-2.
That would be the upper tank.
Yeah, all the way up.
Well,
and Winker foul tips the splitter for strike 3. And Ryan's got his third strikeout.
good sinker right there. Sinking. Look at the last minute, the bottom drops out. Perfect spot, location. Winker out in front.
So one out in the second. Now Luis Torrens, who had a big day yesterday in Sacramento. He went 3 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs. Look at those offensive numbers.
Yeah, he's been terrific, Gare.
On a team that is struggling for offense right now, Luis Torrens has a .942 OPS. And he takes a sinker inside, a ball and a strike.
You notice the defense. There's some notes on Luis, and he can throw. Great pop time, accurate arm, strong arm. He's a similar hitter, Gary, to Jose Iglesias. Line drive hitter.
Why do you say that?
He's a right opposite field hitter, line drive hitter. He's not a home run hitter. He's a doubles hitter, and he likes the ball out over the plate, and he goes that way.
Chases the slider for strike 3, and Ryan's got back-to-back strikeouts to start the second.
That's the first slider we've seen from him. That was a good one, like a sweep. Wow. That's another pitch in his repertoire.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Tyrone Taylor, who went 2 for 8 in the series in West Sacramento. Third baseman Lee playing almost on the line against Taylor. And obviously their charts tell them that,
well,
Taylor's likely to pull the ball.
Correa's playing to pull too. It's short.
Pulled off that sweeper, and it's 0-2.
2 hangers in a row, back to back, right there. You can see the left side of the infield. Now there are 2 strikes that kind of moving a little more up the middle.
The slider, and it's fouled off. 0-2.
I always believed that, Gare, when I played, that the line drive hitters, and Taylor is one. He's not a power hitter. He's a doubles hitter. With 2 strikes, they're tough outs. Why? Because they're waiting longer. They're protecting the plate, so they're more apt to go to the opposite field.
So he's throwing 2 different sliders. That was the gyro slider. He's also had the sweepers. So to go with that fastball and his split, he's got a couple of different looks. Still, he's going to predominate with that fastball. Goes right back to the breaking ball and strikes out Taylor with a sweeper. And after Holmes strikes out the side in the first, Ryan does the same in the second.
Boat with your home and auto insurance.
And got great savings and coverage. Sounds like an expert outdoorsman to me.
I kind of overdid it with the decor, didn't I?
Way overboard.
Holmes' second inning, no score. Clay Holmes struck out the side in the first inning. This is the 5th time that Holmes ever pitched at Target Field. In the 5 games now, opponent batting average 0. 0 for 16. He's never given up a hit in this ballpark.
Wow.
Matt Wallner leads off.
Go a step further, 9 games in his career against the Twins, and his ERA is 1.74 with 3 saves.
Yeah, but that's not over. That means at Yankee Stadium he probably gave up, you know, a couple of hits here and there.
I wasn't trying to one-up you.
One up, one down. Holmes in his last start against the Marlins on a cold, windy night threw his sinker less than he ever had in an outing, only 17% of the time, because he felt as though the wind was hurting it, and he threw more four-seamers in that game. There he gets the sinker in for a strike, and it's 3-1. Well, you see his sinker usage has gone down every game, but particularly that last one at home in the cold. Wallner chops one behind the bag at first. Alonso gives ground and hits Holmes with his throw. First fair ball hit by the Twins, and it's the first out of the second. Your T-Mobile coverage, Cam. This was the first inning.
Yes, a 1-2-3 goes to down again. Go grab some pine.
2 of them on the changeup, 1 of them on the sweeper.
Better luck next time.
So Holmes has retired the first 4. Now Carlos Correa, who was off to a miserable start. Correa missed significant time last season with plantar fasciitis. That's all cleared up, but it's just 9 for 55 to start the year, hitting 164 with no home runs. When he played last year, he was great, but he was only in 86 games. Correa last year hit .310 with a .905 OPS. It's in the 3rd year of a 6-year, $200 million contract that he signed after signing with the Giants and having it negated by medical concerns, and then signing with the Mets, or at least agreeing to it, and then failing his physical with the Mets as well. Went to the Twins, and he's now in the 3rd year of that deal.
So just think, there would have been no Lindor if that trade would have gone through.
No,
and that sign
he would have played third base.
Oh.
Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. Lindor was already here.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah, I mean the idea was that Lindor wanted Correa here because they're great friends,
right?
And that Correa was going to be willing to move to third base so that they could share the left side of the infield. On the outside corner, got him looking, and Correa knew it. 5 batters, 4 strikeouts for Clay Holmes.
Caught looking for a breaking ball, secondary pitch.
So Correa's troubles continue. And now Trevor Larnach, the left fielder. Larnach off to a slow start, 189 with no home runs.
They're not a home run hitting ball club. Only 12 home runs on the year. It's tied for 10th in the American League.
You know, Royce Lewis is probably their best home run threat. He's on the injured list with a hamstring injury. He's been oft injured since coming to the big leagues.
They've only been averaging 3.44 runs per game.
2 balls and a strike to Larnach, who's in his 5th year with the Twins. Well, Rocco Baldelli said right before they sent Jose Miranda down over the weekend, he said we may need to shock this team with how poorly they played at the end of last season and how poorly they played to date. Past Vientos and past Lindor into left center, and Larnach has a base hit, the first ever against Clay Holmes at Target Field. They had gone 0 for 18 against him before that base hit.
Well, all good things must come to an end, and that's perfectly placed. As you can see, they're playing him for the pull on the left side of the infield, and he put it right between them.
So the Twins have their first base runner, and now Ty France, who was just named American League Player of the Week for the week just ended. Last 7 games hitting .440, and he takes a big rip at a fastball, 0-1. France bouncing to the Twins this year in a 1-year, $1 million deal. Talk about low risk, potentially high reward. Played for the Mariners and Reds last year. He was the ultimate overachiever. 34th round draft pick by the Padres out of San Diego State, where he played for Tony Gwynn. And he had some really good years with the Mariners, but his production has tailed off the last couple. But off to a nice start with Minnesota. And France checks his swing, and he went around, strike 3. And so Holmes has 5 strikeouts through the first 2 innings as he sets down France on 3 pitches. No score after 2.
See you tonight on Honda Sports Night.
We go to the 3rd inning. 2 teams that are scrambling for offense have had a lot of futile swings in the first 2 innings. Each starting pitcher has struck out 5 in the first 2. Luisangel Acuna takes a slider outside for ball 1. Acuna making his 8th start, went 3 for 9 in the series against the A's. Getting the start at second base today, and he fouls off the high fastball, and it's 1-1.
Big gap in right center field. The right fielder Wallner playing as if Acuna is a left-handed pull hitter straight up at center. That's a huge gap.
Francisco Lindor on deck, and Acuna takes one wide. 2 balls and a strike. Joe Ryan was not drafted out of college at Cal State Northridge when he was a junior. So he decided to drop down to Division II and went to Cal State Stanislaus for his senior year, and impressed enough that the Rays made him a 7th round draft pick. But he was more into water polo as a kid than he was into baseball. Acuna takes inside ball 4, and so Ryan has issued a 2nd walk. A guy who averaged 1.5 walks per 9 innings last year and hadn't walked anybody coming into this game. He's now walked 2 first time through the batting order.
And he's got a stolen base threat on first base. Acuna with 3 stolen bases on the year leads the team.
Ryan has 3 career pickoffs, including 1 this season. Here's Lindor, who banged one off the wall in right center field for a double his first time up. Lindor has done a great job leading off first innings. A leadoff home run on the last homestand against the Marlins. He's now 6 for 14 with a walk as the first batter of the game.
Ryan's got himself in a little bit of trouble here. This is a dicey pitch for him with Lindor up.
And he misses away, and he falls behind Lindor at 3-0. This is a situation that Ryan does not find himself in all that often. And he's got Juan Soto looming on deck. Acuna at first, 3-0 to Lindor. And there's a strike, 3-1. Ryan says the water polo really translated into pitching. He says you need late hand speed to skip the ball off the water in water polo. Popped up third base side, and Lee comes to the barrier, and he makes the grab, and just enough room. I think the wind actually blew that back into the field of play. Looked like it was going into the seats, but Lee stayed with it, and that's the first out.
The flags are kind of limp right now, but it's blowing out to right. Much reminds me of the ballpark in San Francisco, where that wind blows over the top of the stadium out to right field.
So 1 out and 1 on. Here's Soto, who took a call third strike his first time up. So the way Ryan figures it, that late hand speed that you need to skip it off the water is what gives his four-seam fastball as much spin as it does, which is what makes it ride. Whoever knew? Water polo to pitching. And at least when you're pitching, you don't have to tread water. There goes Acuna, the pitch inside, the throw to second, not nearly in time. And Acuna has the stolen base, his 4th of the year.
Inside strike. Well, Acuna can fly.
Came off the bag, but was able to scramble back because Correa had given up on him. 0-2 to Soto. And he lays off the splitter just below the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That didn't miss by much.
Soto got called out on a fastball his first time up, looking for the splitter. Another runner in scoring position for Soto is now 0 for 10 on the season with runners in scoring position, and he just got a piece of that splitter to stay in the at bat.
Boy, he is really struggling at the plate right now with that swing. He is trying to find it.
You just don't see him feeling for the ball like this very often. Pete Alonso waits on deck. And Soto takes low and in. Another splitter, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ryan now up to 56 pitches, working with 1 out of the 3rd. Twins have been getting good starting pitching lately. The Mets would love to run Ryan out of there as fast as they can. Soto turns on one deep down the right field line, but it hooks and goes foul.
He crushed that one.
He had home run distance all the way, but just a little too quick.
Well, let's see what Ryan counters with after he pulled that ball. He's been talking with this umpire and giving him, staring him down a little bit. Like, I don't know if he's trying to intimidate or whatever, but.
Soto fouls one off the left side. Well, Ryan was unhappy in the first inning on the 3-2 pitch he threw to Alonso, so there's been plenty of displeasure for Adam Hammery early in this game.
Soto's got a big barrel.
8th pitch of the at bat, and Soto lays off the splitter again, and now it's 3-2.
And he doesn't swing at the off-speed pitch. That bait splitter down.
So now a full count to Soto with Alonso looming on deck. And Soto hits one back to Ryan. Acuna scrambles back to the bag, and Ryan throws out Soto for the 2nd out.
Boy, it was ball 4. It's a very rare you see Soto swinging at a bad pitch. That outside corner is giving him trouble right now. He's just off. And he's pulling off.
So now 2 out, and here's Alonso, who walked his first time up. Acuna at second with 2 down. No score as we play in the 3rd. And Pete lays off the first pitch splitter, ball 1. Alonso has 38 career at-bats against the Twins and 5 home runs. And one of them in 2019 was maybe the longest home run he's ever hit. That hits it hard into left field for a base hit. Acuna around third. He'll score easily. Alonso with an RBI single to give the Mets the early lead. It's 1-0 New York. Pete drives in his 19th run of the year with a hard hit single to left.
Well, he has just been on point, Pete, from the get-go. From opening day. Fastball not in enough, and Pete covers. He's lucky he didn't lift it. And you're not going to throw Acuna out.
So the stolen base pays off. Acuna comes home with the first run. And now Nimmo fouls back a first pitch fastball.
2 outs on contact. You're going. And with his wheels, nice turn on the third base. Nice tight cut. Well done.
It was so much fun watching him score yesterday on Lindor's double from first base. 0-2 to Nimmo, who struck out his first time up. Mets don't have a ton of speed on this team. They've got some, but Acuna clearly the fastest man on this team. 1-2 to Nimmo. So Ryan's pitch count continues to build. Now up to 65 pitches working in the 3rd inning. And Nimmo grounds one on the left side. Correa on the backhand. His throw to first is in time, and that retires the side. But the Mets strike first. Pete Alonso's 2-out RBI hit puts the Mets up 1-0 in the 3rd.
With service so good, it's guaranteed.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Home 3rd inning. Clay Holmes stake to a 1-0 lead. Misses with his first sinker to Brooks Lee. Lee just called up yesterday to take over at 3rd base with Jose Miranda sent down. Lee, one of the biggest prospects for the Twins, came up last year. And he was in 50 games last year, so he's no longer a rookie. He didn't hit the way they expected him to, but he was the number 8 overall pick in the draft, coming out of San Luis Obispo. That's driven out to left field, and Nimmo retreats to the warning track, and he reels it in. So Lee gave it a good ride the other way. Brooks Lee played for his dad, Larry Lee. He's the longtime coach at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and they think this young switch hitter is going to be a really terrific hitter. Here's Christian Vasquez, the former Red Sox catcher.
He's got a lot of pine tar on the white of that helmet.
Vasquez now 34 years old. Takes a sinker inside for ball 1. Vasquez now in his 3rd year with the Twins after a long stint in Boston. The way that pine tar is applied on the helmet, Keith, it looks like it was done deliberately. It looks like a work of art. You see how he keeps it within the lines on the white of the helmet? You know, when you color as a kid, you always want to keep the colors inside the lines. Well, Vasquez has done a wonderful job with the pine tar on the white of the helmet.
Did you do the color by numbers?
Yeah, of course.
There's the pine tar.
I needed the paint by numbers, the color by numbers, because if you let me do it freehand, I'm sunk. Vasquez down on strikes. That's 6 now for Holmes. 2 out of the inning. I mean, you have art skills?
Yes, I do. My brother can do your portrait. My father could do your portrait. My dad was a.
How about you? Could you do my portrait?
I'm the least of the group, but
you're still way better than me then.
When I retire from this, I plan on taking up drawing again.
So you and George W. Gonna have a little art class together.
No, me and Winston Churchill.
Well, he's passed at the present time. I was suggesting that W might, invite you into his studio to have a little art session.
I'm not going to be in Texas.
Well, might be someday.
I'm going to be in South Carolina and New York.
Edward Julian takes inside. I can't get used to the idea that you are moving to South Carolina. I mean, it really doesn't compute. You're a New York, Florida snowbird kind of guy. By the way, that's Pat McCarthy and Keith Rad behind us.
That is them, yes.
Julian rolls one on the right side. Acuna makes the play. Another strong inning for Clay Holmes. He sets him down 1-2-3. After 3, 1-0 New York.
For less at Whole Foods Market.
Get to Citi Field when the Mets host the Cardinals this Thursday, April 17th through Sunday, April 20th. Get your tickets now at Mets.com/tickets. Mark Vientos leads off in the 4th inning. Mark grounded out to short his first time up against Joe Ryan. Gave up a leadoff walk in the 3rd that turned into a run. And he's quickly out ahead on Vientos, and that one caught Christian Vasquez, who looks like he's a little shaken up, and he's going to need a moment. It's been 10 years in the big leagues as a catcher. Take a lot of abuse. Jesse Winker on deck, then Luis Torrens.
Remember back in the day, you'd see the old retired catchers and they'd have broken fingers, bad knuckles, and Johnny Bench was the first one to come and put the throwing hand behind his back, and that changed everything.
Vientos lifts one up foul off the right side. That'll go out of play.
Mark's got to start thinking more right center field.
Well, the other thing is they changed the nature of the catcher's mitt. It used to be listed like a big powder puff. And now then they created the hinged catcher's mitt, and that made it easier for them to catch one-handed.
Yeah, all the catcher's hands in the old days were just gnarly.
Popped up foul again, and this one heads for the seats and out of play. The first baseman, France, didn't make a move for it, so Vasquez starts sprinting just in case. By the way, the place to be tonight is in front of that steam table that we just showed. It'll keep you nice and warm.
Or here. It's warm in here.
Well, it is. We're cheating. And I'm really happy we are. Vientos reaches for the slider and fouls it off.
Just a steady diet of sliders on the outside corner, and Mark is just having a hard time covering it. And there you go, Gary.
I mean, that's it. Just I don't care what's on the grill, but the most important thing is the heat coming off the grill. Vientos lifts one to shallow right. Wallner coming in and toward the line. Stays with it with the wind, and that's the first out. As a mixed marriage.
Well, those umpires that stand out there, yeah, I bet you they got long johns on. There's Hunter Wendelstadt. Father was a fine umpire. Harry.
The home plate umpire stays in motion, but the base umpires, they can get a little chilly. So the second base umpire, Todd Tishner, has the balaclava up over his mouth.
Very important on cold days like this to keep your feet warm.
Cut by Winker, and he fouls it back. Ball and a strike.
I'm wearing 2 pair of socks tonight. It's a good move on my part. My feet are very comfortable.
Veteran move. Winker struck out his first time up, and he pops this one up. Going to get it, Correa and Castro, and Correa takes charge of it and staggers, but makes the play. Boy, the wind, if you hit it high enough above the rim of the stadium, it's really getting grabbed by that wind. So drizzling a little bit. Right now the wind speed is 19 miles an hour out of the northwest. Here's Luis Torrens, and he takes slider for a strike. A good sweeper by Joe Ryan. Ryan acquired from Tampa Bay in July of 2021 in a deal that sent Nelson Cruz to the Rays. Swing and a miss at a cutter, and it's 0-2.
He won 13 games in 2022.
See that misty rain blowing across the lights. Not a comfortable night out there on the field. Pitchers trying to take advantage of it. And that one goes to the backstop on a sweeper. 1-2 to Torrens. Tomorrow night, Tyler McGill and his 0.63 ERA take them out against 6'9" Bailey Ober. And then the Wednesday day game, Griffin Canning against the Seton Hall product David Festa, who pitched against the Mets last year. Well, after all the fastballs and splitters early in this game, Ryan has gone almost exclusively to his breaking stuff in this inning. And Torrens hammers one on the ground foul. Francisco Alvarez is going to be moving his rehab assignment to Double-A Binghamton tomorrow. He was going to go to Syracuse, but the weather there is supposed to be bad, so he's going to join the Double-A team in Reading. Played 9 innings for St. Lucie the other night behind the plate. So he's not too terribly far away. They need to get him to the point where he can play 2 or 3 days in a row. Swing and a miss. Got him with that sweeper. Second time he struck out Torrens. 6 strikeouts for Joe Ryan. Still 1-0.
Month or get 2.99% APR exclusively at your Tri-State Genesis retailers.
Your live same-game parlay presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. Earn up to 10% fan cash back on your bets, win or lose. Use fan cash on team gear on Fanatics.com or bonus bets in the Fanatics Sportsbook app. Stay tuned for exclusive offers all season long.
Cotton candy. It's not going to keep you warm, but it sure will keep you sweet.
Look at her fingers. I mean, they're sticky.
But she's being very elegant in the way she's eating it. Not getting it all over her face.
Not yet.
By the way, speaking of young ladies with talent from Minnesota, Hopkins, Minnesota native Paige Beckers just got drafted #1 in the WNBA draft. UConn's superstar. Congratulations to her. There's Byron Buxton swinging and missing at a first pitch fastball from Clay Holmes, who has been in complete command early on. 6 strikeouts in the first 10 batters. Give a 2-out single to Trevor Larnach in the second. That's the only base runner against Holmes. Buxton went down looking at a fastball his first time up. Slider off the plate, ball and strike.
This is the best Holmes has thrown. Now he's playing against a team that's not hitting, but just the quality of his stuff.
Buxton fouls back a high fastball. That's on the 4-seamer. 1-2. The Mets starter's ERA is the lowest in Major League Baseball, and they're starting to get a little more length. 6 innings from David Peterson on Saturday, 7 innings from Kodai Senga yesterday. Holmes trying to follow them in that mix. And Buxton lifts one foul. You know, Peterson, after his start on Saturday, talked about how the starting pitchers all got together for dinner on the off day in Sacramento on Thursday, and that they challenged each other to go deeper into games, so they had to do better to take the pressure off the bullpen, and the results have been almost immediate.
Well, it's also nice to have the bullpen, which has just been spectacular. To have Kranick, Buto, Brazabon, and Young, who can go multiple innings.
Yeah, but you can't do that for too long.
Oh, I understand.
Burn those guys out. And the starters know that. They know they need to give more innings. And until this weekend, the Mets have the second fewest innings from their starters in the National League. 3-2 to Buxton leading off. And the slider fouled off, and he hit that ball off his foot. Well, Senga was just spectacular yesterday. Only 4 strikeouts, but he was in complete command.
Well, the Mets need it from him. That splitter is so effective. The start prior to this start, he had the splitter working. And he just threw a brilliant game yesterday.
Yeah, the cutter working as well. He was right on his game. Your sage pitching decisions. First Mets started to go beyond 6 innings this year. Meanwhile, Byron Buxton trying to feel better after fouling a ball off his foot. You know, everybody who roots for the Twins and everybody really who's a baseball fan winces every time something happens with Byron Buxton, because so many things have kept him off the field, and you want a player like that to be able to play. It's like with Mike Trout the last few years. Just find a way to stay on the field. Swing and a miss, and Buxton's down on strikes. Second time in a row Holmes has gotten him with a fastball. That's 7 strikeouts for Clay, who had his first double-digit strikeout game his last outing against Miami.
Good sinker right there, down and in.
So 1 out and nobody on now. Willie Castro. And he hits a breaking ball down the right field side, foul. Castro was struck out his first time up. Castro's reached base in all 15 games he's played this year. A real useful player for a long time. He's got some Mets ties. You know, he was first in the Cleveland organization, where he was a spring training teammate of Francisco Lindor's. And an even closer connection, Willie Castro is Ahmed Rosario's brother-in-law. Castro married Ahmed's sister. So they're very close. Chops one foul on a changeup. Holmes threw a bunch of changeups early in the game and really hadn't thrown it the last couple of innings. To Castro with Matt Wallner on deck. And another changeup that's out of the strike zone. 1-2.
Interesting how Holmes from the stretch, he rocks back and forth and very open.
Does that make a difference in how you pick him up?
No, I don't think so. The herky-jerky motions were the people that were hard to pick up. Didn't have the normal smooth motion. The guys that were all elbows and you know what were tough to pick up.
Like, say, a Clayton Kershaw with that little hesitation of the foot.
Yes, absolutely. And the shoulder lift.
Right.
I never liked a pitcher. Don Sutton was that way also. A right-handed version of Kershaw. Had the great curveball. Flew up that shoulder at the last minute. Then all of a sudden, here comes the ball.
Castro nubs one. Tough play for Vientos. And the throw just in time. Well, Vientos kept his cool on that play. A very slowly hit ball. Didn't barehand it. Used the glove and still had just enough time to use that strong arm and throw out Castro.
Well, he's got the strong arm. And he got him. Nice play. Good stretch by Pete. Half step.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Matt Wallner, who grounded out to Alonso his first time, and he rips one past the glove of Alonso, just foul. That ball was smoked off the bat of Wallner. Pete came within a few inches of catching it, but then it just barely hooked foul.
Not tall enough to get that one, and it hooked.
Wallner is a big, strong kid. He's a local product, Forest Lake, Minnesota, one of the 10,000 lakes, although they say it's at more like 11,700. That's drilled down the right field line back toward the wall, and it's off the base of the fence, and it sticks there. Wallner will turn second and try for third. The relay throw by Acuna is not in time. Wallner not only hit that ball hard, but he hit it where it would stick right between the padding and the ground, and that forced Soto to go a long way to get it, and Wallner was able to get 3 bases out of it.
Hanging slider down the pipe. Lucky he didn't lift. Hardly any follow through on the swing. Soto expecting that ball to come out and bounce to him, and did not. And hustling out of the box from the get-go. Runs well for a big guy.
It's Wallner's 4th career triple, his 2nd this year.
Went down and got that like all left-hand hitters, like that ball middle and down.
First time the Twins have had a runner past first base. Carlos Correa, the batter, with 2 out and a runner at third, and Correa takes a sinker for a strike. Second hit for the Twins today. And Correa bounces one foul, and Holmes quickly ahead of him 0-2. Carlos Correa, first overall pick in the draft in 2012. Won a World Series with the Astros. Now in his 3rd year with the Twins. Slider off the plate, 1-2. Gold Glove winner. In fact, he was the Platinum Glove winner in 2021 in the American League. A lot of postseason experience.
That was a very good Houston Astro team. All those guys have scattered just about now.
Except for Altuve.
Yep.
2-2 now to Correa. Wallner at third with 2 out. 2-2 from Holmes. And he goes away with a cutter. Full count. So he was ahead 0-2 on Correa. Now it's 3-2. Trevor Larnach on deck. And Correa hits a chopper. Caught by Lindor, a line drive for the 3rd out. So Correa hit it hard, but right to his buddy Lindor, and the Mets stay in front. Your Ford fifth inning recap, only 2 hits aside, the only one that's mattered. Pete Alonso's RBI single in the third brought home Luis Angel Acuna after a stolen base. Mets lead 1-0 as we start the fifth on a cold, windy, misty night in the Twin Cities. Tyrone Taylor leads off the fifth against Joe Ryan, who's already thrown 82 pitches through 4 innings. The most he's thrown in a start so far this season is 85, and he's going to get there shortly. Twins don't have any warm-up action yet, but it's about to start. Justin Topa just beginning his warm-ups now. So we'll see whether Ryan can negotiate this fifth inning. It's ahead on Taylor 0-2 with Acuna on deck. And that just missed 1-2.
That's the pitch you have to lay off if you're hitting against Ryan. That high rider.
And the slider foul tip for strike 3. 7 strikeouts now for Ryan, a season high. 1 down in the fifth.
That pitch he's kind of likes. He's got the feel for it, Garrett. He's been throwing it a lot.
All started
with Doc.
At Shea Stadium.
Started with Doc.
Hanging the K's. Luis Angel Acuna lifts one foul, and that'll land untouched.
And it started, then it came with Sid with the S's, if you recall, and then the Coney with the cone heads.
And now you've got Senga with the ghost forks. Acuna walked, stole a base, and scored the only run of this game in the third. Talked about Alvarez and his progression in his rehab as Ryan loses his footing.
Oh, he got hurt. Is he all right? Or did he trip? He's all right.
He's smiling, so it looks like everything's okay, but that was a little scary. Lost his footing and delivered that ball very awkwardly.
And what the heck happened? He didn't trip.
Didn't look like he caught a spike.
No.
Just maybe the way that lead foot hit the hole was a little strange.
Give him a few tosses. He's all right.
Well, for a Twins team that's already lost one of their top pitchers, Pablo Lopez, to the injured list with a hamstring injury, they can certainly ill afford to lose Joe Ryan. So Ryan's already at his highest pitch count of the season, up to 88 pitches now. 1-1 to Acuna with Lindor on deck. And Acuna takes one the other way. That's a fair ball. Base hit for Acuna. It rolls to the sidewall. Acuna racing for second, and he's in standing with an opposite field double. So Acuna, on a night when not very many players on either side have been able to produce, now been aboard twice with a walk and now a double.
Little cut and slash here. That ball was inside out at it, and there he turns the Jets on. Stayed level on that fastball in.
Third double of the year for Acuna, and now Lindor will try and chase him around. Lindor doubled off the wall in right center his first time up, fouled out in the third, 1 for 2. Sliding in for a strike. One of the things you have to love about baseball is the way that it can turn completely from one day to the next. Yesterday the Red Sox were in Chicago, and Garrett Crochet carried a no-hitter into the 8th inning against his old team. Today the Red Sox are at Steinbrenner Field, and Tanner Houck started. And he gave up 10 runs inside of 3 innings, and they're down 15-1 in the 6th.
Oh boy.
I mean, that's the same team 2 days in a row. 1-2 to Lindor with Soto on deck. And Francisco reaches out, tries to poke one to left, but fouls it off.
Same team, different pitcher, though, Gary.
Yeah. That's what they say. Momentum's only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. Lindor gets tied up, but stopped the swing on a ball that just missed inside. And Ryan looking into Adam Hamari to ask where that pitch was.
He does not. Hamari doesn't call that inside corner to a lefty. He gives that to the hitter. That was a good pitch.
And that's low and in, and now it's 3-2 to Lindor.
I mean, he's looking behind the catcher. He's set up on that inside half of over the inside shoulder of the catcher. Got a good view of that inside corner.
3-2 coming to Lindor. And he struck him out, got him with that sweeper. That's 8 strikeouts for Joe Ryan, 2 out of the inning.
Backdoor, 3 strikes. And all 3 were backdoor off-speed sliders. That had a little more plate, but had Lindor out in front.
So now 2 out, and it's left to Soto, who's already had 2 at-bats with runners in scoring position in this game. Now he gets a 3rd. And with his 0 for 2 tonight, Juan is now 0 for 11 on the season with runners in scoring position, and thus the 4 RBIs through 54 at bats. Acuna at second with 2 down, and Soto takes a splitter down. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Soto is not biting on that splitter.
Ryan about to throw his 99th pitch. His career high is 112. He did that 2 years ago, but no more than 85 in any game this year. Trying to finish off this 5th inning. And Soto jumps back from the splitter that misses low and in. 2-1. And a turn toward Acuna. Correa playing behind the bag, but not making any move towards second.
With his speed, why even steal third? He's going to score on a base hit.
Soto cranks one down the right field line, but foul. You know what I've noticed? We haven't seen much of the Soto strut, the shuffle. And I wonder if that's just because he's not feeling good at the plate. He takes a pitch. You know, in the past he would always do that shuffle, and he's not doing it. So I wonder whether he's just not feeling it. Two coming, and he gets under this one and pops it up on the right side. Castro retreating, side retired. That's wasted double in the 5th. Halfway through, 1-0 New York.
America's #1 sports book.
Well, it's a cold night in Minnesota. They get a few of these over the course of the year. Temperature in the 40s, wind blowing, some misty rain in the area. Fans came dressed for the weather. They wanted an outdoor stadium here after all those years at the Metrodome, and they got their outdoor stadium, and they're making the best of it. Steve Gelbs is out in the elements. Steve, how you feeling?
Not great, Gare. I know it's year 11 for me, but I did not anticipate this. I didn't pack for it, but I will say that I reached out to some people when we landed last night, and I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm ready for the elements, and I'm fine. Totally fine.
Oh my gosh. That's Joe. What are you, Joe Cap?
What? Are you kidding? You think I would wear another man's uniform? Keith, hold on one second.
So you think Steve knows?
Oh, come on now. Wait a second. That's not green, and it's not white.
Steve,
hey, it's been 14 years. I've got a wandering eye right now, Gare.
Let me ask you, is there a heating element in that helmet?
Oh, my gosh. The padding is unbelievable. I'm actually having a difficult time just keeping my head upright right now. It's so heavy. It's like I got it up.
The Vikings have one of the best uniforms. I've always loved their unis.
And you must have a hand warmer inside that quarterback pouch there.
Yeah, check it out. You see? We got the quarterback pouch. We've got the, I guess these are receivers' gloves. I'm decked to the nines, baby.
But are you warm?
Yeah, I'm very warm right now. Although I will tell you this, I can be warmer. I just wanted to show off the custom jersey on the air. I also got that sideline jacket.
Do you have a headset?
Well, I've got an earpiece. I'm talking to you, aren't I?
Who gave you the number 11? You nuts?
Well, it's my 11th year on the broadcast.
Joe Cap was the quarterback of the Vikings. The number was number 11 when they got clobbered by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Trevor Larnach draws a leadoff walk. First walk of the night for Clay Holmes, and now the tying run aboard with nobody out.
Joe Cap, Dante Culpepper, Steve Gelbs.
I believe Joe Cap was a California Golden Bear.
Now, Steve, the night that you were dispensing the hot chocolate at Citi Field, you wore a ski cap, and it really did a number on your hair. I'm wondering what the football helmet is going to do with your salt and pepper locks.
That got him.
Ty France hit by the pitch, and all of a sudden, Clay Holmes has brought some trouble in the 5th inning. We got to find you a 330-pound defensive lineman to, to really indoctrinate you into this whole quarterback thing.
Wait, so guys, see now I can't even hear you underneath this music, which should be my theme song. Did you want to see me without the helmet?
It's all up to you.
You wanted to see the hair, right?
I don't know how hard it is for you to get that helmet off.
I mean, it's pretty tight, but hold on one second. When I'm back on camera, we'll all look at this hair together.
Let's have the corners in against Brooks Lee, who does square but lays off ball 1.
A mess. Disaster.
I think you look just about the same.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
You have no taste.
It's a steely gray, like a thing you scrub your sink with. Oh, now you're gonna go to the alternate headgear.
What about that hair?
I like your hair.
That's perfect. You're like Pippi Longstocking.
It's got a little Heidi game action going.
Well, that goes off the mid of Torrens, and all of a sudden this inning is falling apart for the Mets. A walk, a hit by pitch, and now runners are at 2nd and 3rd. Like a ball Torrens should have had.
Well, you're down in that one knee, Gary. You can't pop up.
So now 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. A 3-0 count to Brooks Lee. Mets will play the infield back with a 1-0 lead. And Lee takes a strike with a cutter. 3-1.
Hey, guys, we're done with this segment. There are a lot of Mets fans down here, and they are screaming at me, take it off. It's bad luck. Take it off now.
Oh, boy.
It's all about the juju.
Yeah.
There's ball 4, and that'll load him up.
This has happened to Holmes in his starts where he gets in that 5th inning and loses it. I mean, in complete command, and now it's just eluded him.
So Jeremy Hefner, who at one time worked for the Minnesota Twins in their pitching department, now trying to convey a message to Clay Holmes. He's looking to work out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam, protecting a 1-0 lead as Huáscar Brazoban starts to loosen up. The number 9 hitter Christian Vasquez is coming up. Holmes struck him out his first time up, one of 7 strikeouts for Holmes through the first 4 innings, but the 5th inning has begun in a way that he could not have anticipated. Walk, hit batsman, pass ball, walk, bases loaded, nobody out.
And up in the strike zone, Garrett. Up, wildly up.
That's the infield back looking for 2 by way of second. And Vasquez takes a sweeper out of the strike zone for ball 1. Larnach at third, France at second, Lee at first. And Vasquez takes a strike. 1-1. Edward Julien, the leadoff hitter, on deck. That's driven out to left field. That should get the tying run in. Nimmo makes the catch on his heels. Larnach comes in to score. Sacrifice fly for Christian Vasquez, his first RBI of the season, and that ties the game at 1.
Really not good base running by Ty France at second base. Here's a swing. Went down and got it. Just a half swing. Hardly any follow through. And Ty France, we got to know with Nimmo's arm, he got caught in nowhere's land.
Especially with Nimmo catching that ball on his heels. Certainly feels as though France could have gone to third. So a run is in, first and second, 1 out, and now Holmes starts his 3rd time around the batting order with Edward Julien, who has struck out and grounded out. France at second, Lee at first, the infield looking for 2. And Julien swings over the changeup, 0-1.
He's been out in front all day.
That's about opportunities to score. Wasted a couple of doubles already in this game, and now it catches up with them. Another changeup off the plate, and it's 1-1 to Julien. Edward Julien, who grew up in Quebec City, nonetheless wants his name pronounced Edward Julien, not Edouard Julien. Go figure.
Well, he's assimilated.
Well, you know, he went from Quebec City to Auburn, where, you know, they might not have been able to pronounce Edouard Julien. So it's France, not France. 2-1. There's a good changeup by Holmes. So a steady diet of off-speed pitches here from Holmes, and he's even on Julien, 2-2.
He just keeps having a hard time with this pitch and swinging at it. It's not a strike. They're going to sprain his ankle too on his stride.
Byron Buxton, the on-deck batter. 2-2. Grounded foul. And with one more changeup there. Holmes at 80 pitches on the night, and Julien fouls off another changeup. 6 pitches in this at bat, and I think 5 of the 6 have been changeups.
He left that one up.
Brazoban looks like he's ready to go if needed. Seventh pitch of the at bat, and it's a little too high. So a full count to Julian with Buxton on deck. Everything was going swimmingly for Holmes for the first 4 innings. Only 2 base runners. But now it is all backed up on him here in the 5th.
Which is a double play away from getting out of this inning.
France at second, Lee at first with 1 out. Not running, and it's pulled foul. And with another changeup that time.
Needs to get it down and away and out of the strike zone low, and he'll fish for it.
Pitch number 9 from Holmes to Julian. And he hits it on the ground to third. Vientos takes it to the bag, makes the throw on a hop, not in time. So they get the force at third on France for the second out. But Vientos did not get a good throw away, and Julian able to beat the Rap at first.
I don't think he had a chance to get him. Gets it there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, the 4, 5 steps to third base. Forget throwing a runner out, getting the double play.
So 2 out and 2 on. And now Buxton, who's been up twice and struck out both times, looking in the first, swinging in the 4th. Run home without benefit of a base hit. 2 on and 2 out. And Buxton takes a slider outside.
Well, here's the strikeout in the first inning. Slider right down the middle. Had a lot of plate. And then a good hard sinker down and in.
Buxton fouls back a high fastball, 1-1. Holmes has already thrown 24 pitches in this inning. Hasn't gone beyond 89 pitches this season. 86 right now. The slider away. 2 balls and a strike to Buxton. Byron Buxton, now 31 years old. Grew up in Georgia. He was the 2nd overall pick in the draft in 2012. And that's on the outside corner. Good pitch by Holmes, and now it's 2-2. Two out, 2 on, 2-2 to Buxton. Struck him out for the 3rd time. Clay Holmes strikes out Byron Buxton. Got him this time with a changeup, and he limits the damage to 1 run. Tie game.
Insurance. It's a no-brainer.
With different backgrounds come different opinions. Watch the sparks fly on WFAN Sports Radio's Evan and Tiki, simulcasting live every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. only on SNY. And fans rooting for their team on the road. Justin Topa on to pitch for the Twins, and his first slider off the plate to Pete Alonso, ball one.
There are his numbers. This bullpen, third in ERA in the American League. They've been solid. And look where he strides. Very interesting. Usually guys throw across their body. He strides towards the first base line. Watch his front foot, his plant foot. Wow. I've not seen that.
Opposite of pitching across your body.
Yes.
It's almost like your arm is lagging.
Yes. Interesting.
Justin Topa, who grew up in Binghamton, went to school at LIU Brooklyn. And Pete lines one to center field. Coming on is Buxton. He'll have to play it on the hop, base hit. And Pete Alonso's on base for the third straight time. Hit it off the end of the bat, and it died in front of Buxton. Second hit of the night for Alonso.
Pete continues to thrive. You got to play Pete deep, respect his power, and that ball did die.
So now Brandon Nimmo is struck out and grounded out 0 for 2, and he gets jammed by that cutter, 0-1.
Well, he chased that slider. It almost hit him in the hip.
And Nimmo takes another cut at a high cutter, and he's down in the count 0-2. Joe Ryan went 5 innings, allowed a run on 3 hits. He walked 2. That's unusual for him. Struck out 8, but worked around a leadoff double by Lindor in the first. Worked around a 1-out double by Acuna in the 5th. That's continued to struggle with runners in scoring position. Came into the game at 163, and only Alonso's been able to come through tonight. Nimmo is struck out and grounded out 0 for 2 tonight. He takes that cutter high. 2-2. One thing the Mets did well against Ryan, they worked him through 101 pitches in 5 innings. Easily his highest pitch count of the year. Clay Holmes at 90 pitches through 5. Don't know if he's done for the night. And Nimmo fouled back that fastball. Two coming to Nimmo, and Brandon takes the backdoor slider outside. 3-2. Topa was only in 3 games for the Twins last year. The year before, he was in 75 games with the Seattle Mariners. That's a lot these days. There aren't too many more Pedro Felicianos around pitching in 90 games every year. And Nimmo takes strike 3 call. Cutter got him looking, and that's the first out.
Well, this is close. Well, I guess. Well, I thought it was a ball. You can see Vasquez brought it in.
Backed up on the outside corner. So 1 out and 1 on. And now Mark Vientos, who's grounded out and flied out 0 for 2. And he takes a strike. With this misting rain falling, the color of the infield has darkened somewhat over the last few innings. Vientos takes curveball inside, ball and a strike. Jesse Winker, the on-deck batter. Alonso at first and 1 out. And Vientos takes up and away 2-1. Alonso on base 3 times tonight after going hitless his last 2 games against the A's. Just off to a marvelous start.
Vientos cracks one toward the gap in right center field. That's going to be between them and all the way back to the wall. Alonso digging for third. It's dug out by Wallner. Alonso heading home. There will be no relay throw. The ball is thrown to second base where Nimmo's standing, where Vientos is standing and nobody else. That was weird.
Weird.
It's an RBI double for Vientos, and the Mets go back in front 2-1. That was really strange, bizarre. I mean, Wallner dug it out. Wallner's got a great arm and got it to the relay man. They might have had a play on Alonso, but they decided to flip it to second base where no one was standing except Vientos.
That's a good sign from Vientos. That ball was inner half going that way, driving it into the gap.
Now it's Winker.
Now they had a chance to throw here, throw out Pete, and I have no idea.
I mean, Castro just threw it at Vientos. I mean, Mark could have taken off for third. There was nobody else there.
That's a blue uniform. It's not a white one. Oh boy.
Winker breaks his bat, pops it up behind third. Lee retreats to grab it, and that's the second out.
Garrett, you think you've seen it all?
I think Vientos was so shocked that that happened that it didn't even cross his mind to head to third base.
It's like, whoa.
I mean,
he got goosed.
Just to add injury to insult.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we saw some ridiculous outfield play by the A's yesterday. Here's Torrens with a runner at second and 2 down. Takes a slider outside. Torrens 2 at bats against Ryan, who struck him out both times. So the Twins tied it without a hit in the bottom of the 5th, and the Mets immediately regained the lead on Vientos' RBI double. Mark had 2 RBIs yesterday, now 1 tonight. He had only 1 RBI going into the 7th inning yesterday.
Well, I like that at bat he had right there. Vientos, that is.
Well, driving the ball to center and right center. That's his game. Torrens, it's a weak comebacker.
And it's thrown away, and that'll bring in a run. Vientos scores. Torrens will go to second base as Topa airmailed the throw to first, and it's 3-1 New York.
Oh my word.
Pitchers throwing to bases. It's been a problem for the Twins. That's their 5th pitcher's error already this year, and most of them have been on plays just like this.
Routine play. Oh.
So the Mets get a couple of gifts, and now they have a 3-1 lead. And here's Tyrone Taylor, who struck out twice against Ryan.
And he hits one in the air to left center field. Cutting across is Larnach to make the catch. And that retires the side. But the Mets played a couple. Vientos gives them the lead. It's 3-1 in the
Well, Mark Vientos taking a little ribbing about that play at second base. Mike Starboard saying, why did you go to third? He threw it right at your rear end. There's nobody else there.
Bullseye.
Well, Vientos wound up coming around on the throwing error by the pitcher Topa, and that's now with a 3-1 lead, and Huascar Brazoban will take over the pitching as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Willie Castro, who made that throw to Vientos at second, leads off against Brazoban and takes fastball inside.
Well, Brazoban has been the big surprise out of the pen. Look at those numbers, and most importantly, look at the walks. He is throwing his fastball more, Gary. He's got a good arm. Terrific arm. Always felt he just loved his changeup too much in Miami.
Hasn't pitched since Wednesday against Miami when he worked a scoreless inning. That's been able to avoid overworking any particular reliever early in the season as Jorge Alcala gets up in the bullpen for the Twins.
Yep. Carlos Mendoza's done a fine job with the bullpen, and like we said, they got the 4 guys that can give you multiple innings, and they can stagger them and keep them fresh.
Castro cracks one to right, but right at Soto for the first out. Castro got on that changeup and hit it hard, but straight as a string to Soto. One away. Tonight's start is brought to you by Moo Moo. Holmes and Ryan each went 5, each allowed 1 run, each struck out 8, each walked 2. Like mirror images. There's Matt Wallner, who had a triple into the right field corner in the 4th inning. And a good changeup by Brazoban to start him off. 0-1.
You can see playing the pull on the infield, particularly on the left side, but as we see so often, straight up in the outfield. And a slight shade to opposite field.
Oh, and 2 to Wallner. And he got him looking. Fastball in the inside corner. And Wallner out on strikes for the 2nd out.
Oh, he called this, and he hasn't been calling a high strike. I had a lot of plays.
Came back.
Yep.
Two-seamer there.
Yep. Good pitch.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Carlos Correa, who has taken a call 3rd strike and lined out to short, 0 for 2. And he takes a fastball strike. Giants kept rolling tonight. They won in Philadelphia 10-4. Tyler Fitzgerald a homer, 3 RBIs. Giants are now 12-4 after taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees over the weekend. Chopped on the ground down to Alonso. Brazoban covers. Very easy inning for Huascar Brazoban as he sets him down 1-2-3. After 6, it's 3-1 New York.
The moment.
To the 7th we go in Minnesota. Still a very, very frigid night here in Minneapolis. Some steady mist has been coming down the entire time, and the Twins have a new pitcher on the mound, Jorge Alcala, as the Mets come up with a 3-1 lead. And guys, I know we had some fun a little bit earlier. I still got some of my Vikings gear on with the Vikings helmet and everything. But, you know, one thing that we thought was interesting, because this is a real NFL helmet, is the difference between an NFL helmet and a Major League Baseball helmet with the padding.
Acuna gets down a beautiful bunt. Alcala one hops it down the line, and Acuna will take off for second. Third. He's going to turn second and stop there. Another throwing error for a Twins pitcher. Second straight inning. Gorgeous bunt by Acuna, and then Alcala threw it away, and Acuna winds up on second.
That'll be a base hit. Very nicely done down the third base line. He's going to beat it. And you know what? When you got 5-11 teams, they show you why they're 5-11. Just shoddy defense.
That is 6 pitchers' errors for the Twins, and 5 of the 6 have been on throws. Francisco Lindor 1 for 3, doubled off the wall in right center in the first. Since then, he's fouled out and struck out. Mets took advantage of Topa's throwing error in the 6th to score their 3rd run. Now hoping to take advantage of Alcala's throwing error. Acuna and his speed at second. He's been on base all 3 times today, and Lindor skies one into shallow left center.
That will not.
Larnach has the play for the first out. Let's go back to Steve.
All right, so as I was saying, you know, this is an actual NFL helmet, and it's heavy mostly because of the padding inside. Look at how much padding there is and how thick specifically that padding is around the entire interior of the helmet. Meanwhile, a Major League Baseball helmet, not even close, right? You've got some padding in the middle and little thin padding around the side, but you know, nothing quite to the extent of an NFL helmet, which makes sense, right? That's a contact sport. This isn't, but still, you can understand why even with this helmet, taking a 100-mile-an-hour fastball right at the head, I mean, that is, you're going to feel that. You would not feel it with an NFL helmet, not to the same extent, but there's a big difference between these two helmets. Probably about a third of the weight as well, a Major League helmet from an NFL helmet.
Although we have to say that the Major League Baseball helmets have gotten more protective over the last 10 or 15 years. They've done a lot more to harden the outside shell and to increase the flexibility of the padding inside. Juan Soto's 0 for 3 today, his 4th straight at bat with a runner in scoring position. Unable to come through the first 3 times. He lifts this one out to right center field. Pretty well hit. Back goes Buxton, back near the wall, and it's out of here. A 2-run homer for Juan Soto. His 2nd home run as a Met, and the Mets extend their lead to 5-1. Soto's first hit this year with a runner in scoring position, and he clears the high fence in right center for a 2-run homer. Boy, he needed that.
I'll say.
It's been such a struggle for Juan early in this season. His first of 15 with the Mets. He hit the home run the 2nd game of the season in Houston. And now he goes deep here in Minnesota to give the Mets a 5-1 lead.
He hits the high fastball here, Gare. Well, that's belt high.
Got to clear that railing where the going to get it onto that white padding in front of the railing for it to be a home run, and he did.
So the Mets have just blown the drawers off this game.
Well, Rocco Baldelli had been getting strong bullpen work, but Topa and now Alcala have given up multiple runs in the last 2 innings.
Out over the plate, Bell tie. And that wind blowing out to right's going to carry that ball too.
Alonso's been on base 3 times tonight with a walk and 2 singles. And now he's ahead in the count 3-1. Pete with the 2 hits tonight has raised his batting average to .345 and his OPS to .1129. Batting with 1 out and nobody on. And he tops one foul on a good sinker. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jorge Alcala now in his 7th year with the Twins. He was in 54 games for them last year. Had a good season. 3.24 ERA. Off to a rough start this year. And Alonso takes outside ball 4, so Pete reaches base for the 4th straight time. Don't miss a single Mets moment on the SNY stream presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. Now on its new home, the MLB app. Scan the code and download the MLB app today. We're trying to stay warm in that dugout. Gloves a necessity if you're not in the game. There's Nimmo, who's gone 0 for 3 tonight. And Brandon takes a curveball for a strike, 0-1. A bunt single by Acuna, his first career bunt hit. And then a 2-run homer by Soto, upping the Mets lead here in the 7th. Alonso aboard with 1 out, and Nimmo fouls one back. 0-2. Joe Ryan went the first 5 for the Twins. He was really good. A run on 3 hits, worked out of a couple of jams. Justin Topin not as fortunate, gave up 2 runs, 1 earned in his inning, and now Alcala has given up 2 here in the 7th. One and 2 to Nimmo. Oh, they got the overhead heaters there.
Oh, nice.
Why they're all grouped there, and they're all a little bit red.
It's like at those restaurants, those overhead heaters that keep the food warm.
The warmers? Well, you wouldn't want to use those on people. I mean, you might fry them or charcoal broil. Rotisserie humans. No good. 1-2 coming to Nimmo. And that just missed inside at 98 from Alcala. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pulled on the ground, backhanded by France, gets the out at second and back to first for the double play.
Nice.
And that retires the side. Neatly done by Ty France. 3-6-3 double play ends the inning. So
the state of hunger.
Can we change the state of hunger?
We can. Join us. Go to cfbnj.org today.
Home seventh inning, Trevor Larnach leads off against Huascar Brazoban, who begins his second inning of relief. Larnach's been aboard twice, singled, and then walked and scored the only Twins run in the fifth. Mets now with a 5-1 lead. Twins tied it briefly in the fifth, but the Mets with 2 in the sixth, 2 in the seventh against the Minnesota bullpen. Soto hitting the 2-run homer to stretch the lead. And Larnach takes a knee-high fastball for a strike.
And Juan finally getting a base hit with runners in scoring position.
He had been 0 for 12, including 0 for 3 tonight, but fourth time was the charm in this game. And Larnach takes low and inside, and Brazoban behind 3-1. Brazoban threw a 1-2-3-6 on only 9 pitches. He's already gone 2 or more innings 3 times this year. That's his role on this team. He and Max Kranick and Jose Butto able to give the Mets multiple innings, which has really helped. And Larnach takes below the knees, ball 4. So it's a leadoff walk for Larnach, who's on base for the 3rd time. Clay Holmes struck out 8 in 5 innings tonight.
Well, they had the changeup working. Look at the sink right there. They kept fishing, and he kept throwing. And there they are. Look at all of them out of the strike zone. All of them out of the, most of them out of the strike zone.
Those are the swings and misses. One center cut sinker that was swung and missed, but otherwise he was on the edges. Ty France has struck out and been hit by a pitch, 0 for 1. Larnach at first with nobody out. And France hits a double play ball right to Lindor. The flip to Acuna, and the rest is easy. 6-4-3 double play, 2 out and nobody on.
How about Brazoban? He is just resurgent.
Here's a guy who did not play in the major leagues until he was 32 years old. And now at age 35, he appears to have found the key. He's always had great stuff, but the key was throwing strikes.
Yep.
And now he's throwing strikes.
You got to give Jeremy Hefner a lot of credit. He believed in Brazoban. We talked with him in spring training, and he said, I like his arm. He doesn't believe in his fastball. And that's my mission. And he is throwing his fastball and throwing strikes.
So Reed Garrett up in the bullpen behind Brazoban, who missed with a changeup there and a fall behind 2-0, and it had a little problem with his footing. We've had a little misting rain blow through for most of the night, in addition to the cold and the wind. Wind still blowing about 20 miles an hour out of the northwest.
There's that. Oh, they called a strike on the swing.
I don't know about that. Hunter Wendelstedt's ready to go home. I don't think Brooks Lee swung the bat. Lee has flied out and drawn a walk, 0 for 1 today, his 2nd game of the year. He grounds this one on the right side for Acuna. And so Huascar Brazoban with 2 hitless innings in relief. He continues to get it done. 5-1 Mets after 7. All right, Gary, here's the road ahead presented by your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. Night game tomorrow, day game on Wednesday, and then the Mets come home for 7, 4 with the Cardinals starting Thursday night, and then 3 with the Phillies. You know the Mets have only played one National League team so far this year?
Yes.
The Marlins. This is their 4th series against the American League.
And they have won 4 series in a row as well.
Kyle Funderburk is on to pitch the 8th inning. And he throws a sinker that gets a swinging strike from Mark Vientos. Cody Funderburk, 2nd outing of the year. Pitched some for the Twins each of the last 2 years. No relation to Mark Funderburk, who played for the Twins back in the 80s. How is that possible?
It's a very unusual name.
But how is it possible they're not related?
That's what I'm saying.
It's like the 2 Max Muncies.
That's true.
Who are not related to each other but have the same birthday.
How many Funderburks are there?
I don't know.
I mean, there was Chuck Muncie.
There should be more Funderburks. I mean, it's a great name to say. Funderburk.
It's fun.
Yeah. Vientos, then Winker and Torrens for the Mets in the 8th. Vientos had an RBI double in the 6th that gave the Mets the lead. And he takes a sinker outside. 3-2. Well, Mets have won 4 straight series, so they can't really complain about the schedule. Nice to get these American League games out of the way. Strike 3 called. Got him with a cutter on the outside corner, and so Vientos is called out on strikes to start the 8th.
I don't see anybody tossing in the Mets. Yes, the Mets bullpen has some activity.
I mean, Brosbon's only throwing 20 pitches in 2 innings. He could definitely go a 3rd. There's Winker lifting one down the left field line. Larnach crossing the line, but it'll sail out of play. The Braves won tonight. They had a big night from Austin Riley. 2 homers, 5 RBIs, beat Toronto 8-4. And Grant Holmes pitched into the 8th inning for Atlanta tonight. So they're 5-11. The Rays won that game 16-1 over the Red Sox. Junior Caminero homered for the 3rd straight game. And Winker takes a strike, and it's 0-2.
Yeah. Looks like Reed Garrett up in the bullpen. Been outstanding out of the pen.
Jesse Winker is indeed a girl dad. Daughter stole the show at his post-game press conference last week. Then he went down with an intestinal virus. Don't know if there's a relation. The good news is it doesn't appear anybody in that Mets clubhouse picked it up. But he was really hurting for a few days. Cody Funderburk with a 2-2, and it's hammered foul outside first. Funderburk, the 4th Minnesota pitcher. Mets have 4 runs in the last 2 innings against the Minnesota bullpen after Joe Ryan held them to 1 run over 5. Stands are a little sparse here at Target Field, as you can well imagine, given the weather and given the Twins' struggles. Twins for the last half decade or so had been the class of the American League Central, but the Tigers are getting better. They had a great run last year. The Royals have gotten better. It's a much more difficult division in which to compete. And the Twins, after their collapse last year, have not gotten off to a good start. Winker keeps fouling them away. Guardians won the division last year. They did it with smoke and mirrors. Guardians are 8-7 to start this year. Detroit's on top at 9-6. They look like a A really good team. And a pitch clock violation called against Winker for strike 3. He was not alert to the pitcher at 9 seconds, as is required in the rules, and that is a violation, 3rd strike.
Is that rule? Would you score that a called 3rd strike here?
No.
Okay. Just a regular K.
Well, you know how you put the forward K for the swinging strike and
right.
the backward K for the.
Yes. I do it differently, but go ahead.
I put the K on its side for the pitch clock violations because it's a 3rd type. It's the 3rd way.
So it's like a sleeping K.
Actually, I do it with the prongs down. It looks more like a
table.
Kind of a table, yeah. I mean, you could do prongs up too.
I would do.
Winker was not alert to the pitcher at 9, and so that is properly a violation.
Yep.
Strike 3.
Thank you very much. Funderburk says.
Turenne slaps one the other way. Nice diving stop by France, and the flip to the pitcher for the 3rd out. Ty France with his 2nd good defensive play in the last 2 innings. Started a 3-6-3 in the 7th. Still 5-1 Mets. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Moomoo, your powerful trading platform. By New York 811, safety is in your hands every dig, every time. And by Hyundai, with a brand new Hyundai, there's joy in every journey. Reed Garrett on to pitch the bottom of the 8th inning for New York. That's up 5-1. 9-1-2 in the batting order coming up for Minnesota. After Huascar Brazoban through 2 hitless innings, faced the minimum over 2, walked 1, struck out 1. And now Garrett facing Christian Vasquez, who's driven in the only Minnesota run in this game with a sac fly, and he takes a cutter for a strike.
And Garrett last pitched the first game in Sacramento.
It's a good bounce back performance for him after a rough outing in his previous time out against the Marlins. Clay Holmes went the first 5, allowed a run on 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. He's in line for his 2nd win. And a half swing. That's a call strike. Another cutter from Garrett, and it's 1-2. He has done a nice job using that cutter as the setup pitch for his splitter, which is his put away pitch.
He's a whole different demeanor this year, much more comfortable in his own skin. Last year he was so hyper, and he's just more of a professional. He feels like he belongs, and it's affecting positively how he's pitched this year. Now he's a pro.
And a foul tip held by Torrens for strike 3. Blew a fastball by Vasquez for the first out.
Good fastball, good late sink.
You know, it took Reed Garrett a long time to get to the point he was at early last season, and then he enjoyed so much instant success early in the year. But then he hit some bumps in the middle of the season, and he had to adjust. And to his credit, he found his way back. And by the end of the year, he was a very productive pitcher again. Edouard Julien is 0 for 3, struck out, hit the ball on the ground twice. Twins have just 2 hits in this game. This is a team that has been struggling to score runs, averaging less than 3.5 runs per game. They had a .208 team batting average coming into the night, and that's only sunk further. Line the other way and just foul.
Take a look at Reed here. Watch that stride foot. Looks like he's really going to have a big step forward, but he kind of bends that leg, that knee at the knee, and it brings his foot back. But he's been brilliant so far this year, and throwing strikes and very poised on the mound.
Really, the only guy who's struggled out of the Mets bullpen is Edwin Diaz. He's had 2 rough outings in a row. It'll be interesting to see whether Carlos Mendoza goes to him in the 9th in this game. I mean, do you give him a spot where you've got a 4-run lead, but do you pitch him in the cold weather where he struggled the last time at Citi Field, couldn't field the baseball? Interesting call. 2-2 coming to Julien, and he struck him out looking. Got him with the cutter. Back-to-back strikeouts for Garrett. That's 11 for Met pitchers tonight.
On the back door, got him. Remember last year how Reed used to be so emotional when he had a big inning and got a big out. Now he's just like he's been here before and been here a long time.
So now Byron Buxton just trying to make contact. 3 at bats, 3 strikeouts against Clay Holmes. He has 8 golden sombreros in his career, trying to avoid a 9th. And he chops one foul, 0-1. So I have some more information for you, Keith.
Okay.
We were noting Cody Funderburk and his unusual last name, and the fact that the Twins had another player named Funderburk back in the 80s to whom Cody is not related. So maybe it's not as unusual a name as we think. Apparently, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a cornerback named Tyreek Funderburk.
Okay.
The NC State basketball program a few years ago had a player named DJ Funderburk. So apparently there are Funderburks infiltrating sports from all directions. And that's only a good thing, because the world can't have too many Funderburks. Well, Juan has been cold all night, except when he hit the home run.
Peekaboo.
It'll be a little bit warmer tomorrow, not quite as much wind. It will hardly be a sauna. But then by Wednesday, temperature's supposed to get into the 60s. We have a noontime local start on Wednesday. So Juan, warmer temperatures are ahead.
What time's the start on Wednesday?
I believe that's 12:10 local, 1:10 Eastern.
Right. I knew it was a noon start, Central Time.
Need to get him one of those quarterback pouches like Steve had to keep that bare hand warm.
Get the Mets home early because they got to go open up a 4-game series with the Cardinals.
Fly ball, shallow center. Taylor coming on, and Tyrone puts it away in another good inning for a Met reliever. Garrett gets a 1-2-3 in the 8th. It's 5-1.
folks.
Tyrone Taylor leading off in the 9th inning against Cody Funderburk, who stays in for his 2nd inning of work. Taylor has struck out twice and flied out 0 for 3. Mets 5 runs, 7 hits. The Twins 1 run and 2 hits. I mentioned it yesterday. The Mets are the only team in the majors that has not had a 2-game losing streak. Not only that, but this is the deepest into the season, 16 games, that the Mets have ever gone in their history without losing 2 in a row. They've done that despite the fact that their offense has been spotty at best.
Yep.
Pitching has just been fabulous, and that's been the case again tonight. Taylor just got a piece of that changeup from Funderburk, and that one caught Christian Vasquez on the meat hand.
And that's the 2nd time Vasquez has been clobbered behind there.
You talk about keeping that bare hand out of the way, but his bare hand is right there.
Yep.
Vulnerable to that foul ball. Ideally, you'd like to tuck it behind your leg as opposed to keeping it up on top of your thigh there where it can get struck. Just talking about that earlier about the revolution in catching where you don't get your bare hand involved, but there it is, exposed. And so they're checking on Vasquez. Ryan Jeffers is the other catcher for the Twins. I'm sure that hurts on any night, but particularly on a cold night. We were talking about the AL Central and how much tougher it is now. The Tigers won again. They just took 2 out of 3 from the Twins here over the weekend. They beat Milwaukee today 9-1. Gleyber Torres had 3 RBIs. So the Tigers are now 10-6.
They're picking up where they left off last year.
Yep. They had an incredible run. I mean, they basically gave up at the trading deadline, traded away Jack Flaherty, and then they were able to piece it together and get into the postseason. Vasquez seeing if that hand is capable of making a throw. He does not appear happy. I think he's coming out. Yep. So Vasquez is coming out of the game. That's what's coming up on Honda Sports Night tonight. Paige Beckers, #1 in the WNBA draft, and Aaron Judge named the WBC U.S. captain for next year's festivities. All coming up after the game tonight. Speaking of Judge and the Yankees, they beat Kansas City tonight 4-1 in the Bronx. 4 solo home runs. And Carlos Carrasco got the win for the Yankees tonight. So we'll wait for Ryan Jeffers to be ready to come in and catch for the Twins after Vasquez leaves after being struck on his bare hand by a foul ball off the bat of Tyrone Taylor. Jeffers, you would imagine, was probably down in the bullpen, and so they need to rustle him up and get him ready to go.
Well, they've got bullpen catchers today.
Oh, it is not Jeffers. It is Mickey Gasper who is going to come in and catch. Gasper, who they acquired from the Red Sox. Huh. I know Jeffers has had something of a sore thumb, but he did catch yesterday. But it is Gasper who's going to come in and catch. This will be his first major league appearance as a catcher. He did catch in 114 games in the minor leagues, so it's not like he's completely inexperienced at the position. He's just never played it in the major leagues. So Gasper is the new catcher, replacing Vasquez. And by the way, if you're a Met fan of long standing and you're wondering, Mickey Gasper, not related to Rod Gasper. They spell their name differently. Rod Gasper was G-A-S-P-A-R. Right. Mickey is E-R. Pronounced the same, spelled differently.
Gesper wasn't a original Met, was he?
No, he was there for 69. Grounded past the mound, rolled her out to Correa. The off-balance throw is perfect to get Taylor. One out of the top of the ninth. Well, there's Harrison Bader, who's been playing a lot of the center field for the Twins early in the season.
Yep, he's having a good year this year thus far. 3 home runs already. He's been the big leading the team in home runs. He's got 10 RBIs, leading the team with 10 RBIs.
Maybe he should be playing tonight. They could use him. They've only had 2 hits. Funderburg gets the slider in for a strike to Acuna. Is that another big game? Luis Angel's been on base all 3 times. He's scored 2 runs, a walk, a double, a bunt single, a stolen base. So Acuna's second straight start where he has produced offensively. Started the first game in Oakland and went 2 for 3 and a walk with a single and a double. And he chops one on the right side. Castro in to field it. And the sidearm throw, 2 down. So 2 up and 2 set aside. And looks like Ryan Stanek is going to get the bottom of the ninth for New York. After Reed Garrett pitched the 8th and Huascar Brazoban the 6th and 7th.
Stanek has been fantastic.
Francisco Lindor looking for his first hit as a right-hand batter this year. He's only had 6 at-bats from the right side, 0 for 6. He's 1 for 4 tonight, a double back in the first. And Lindor takes sinker outside for ball 1. In the bottom of the ninth, the Twins will have their 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Castro, Wallner, and Correa due up. And that's ripped down the line, but foul. Ball and a strike to Lindor. Cardinals will be coming to Citi Field on Thursday. They're leading the Astros 8-0 in the ninth tonight after they shut out the Phillies yesterday.
Juan staying warm in that heater. I don't blame him.
No reason to come out on deck when you can stay put. For the Cardinals, yesterday was Matthew Liberatore. Today was Sonny Gray going 7 scoreless. So the Cardinals, if they win that game, will be back to 500. They had been hitting but not pitching. Now they're starting to pitch. 2-2 to Lindor. And the breaking ball fouled off. Now he's out on deck. Door fouls away the sinker. Funderburg threw 40 pitches day before yesterday. He's already thrown 33 in this game. And the door fouls off another one. Change up that time. Crowd of a shade over 10,000 at Target Field tonight, but a good number of them have packed it in, headed for warmer situations.
Boy, he hasn't got something, thrown everything at him. It's a kitchen sink. Lindor hanging in there on a cold night.
8 pitches deep into this at bat, it's still going. When you clap your hands, you stay warmer. In the air to left field, circling in is Larnach. Going out is the shortstop Correa, and Correa with a pretty play to retire Lindor and end the inning. Left fielder was not going to get there. He took a bad route, and so Correa went out and made the play.
Thing stops Ram.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Genesis. Discover the award-winning lineup of Genesis SUVs and sedans exclusively at your tri-state Genesis retailers. By Catholic Health, long live Long Island. By Citi, for each Mets home run at Citi Field, Citi will donate $2,000 to No Kid Hungry. And by Toyota, Deer Spring, Toyota's adrenaline-pumping lineup is ready for you. Toyota, let's go places. Ninth inning, Ryan Stanek on to pitch. Willie Castro first pitch swinging, fouls one off the left side beyond everybody's reach.
And Stanek has always been a guy that is every pitch 150%. And he's backed off as you look at his Nissan numbers. And he's pulled back now. He doesn't need to hump up on every pitch. He's throwing strikes.
Last pitch Friday night in West Sacramento, a 1-2-3 inning. He blows one by Castro at 98.
He's got a good arm, boy. A good live fastball.
By the way, speaking of pitching and fastballs, we mentioned this right at the top of the broadcast, and I promised that we would elaborate on it later. The San Diego Padres are going for their 4th straight shutout tonight as they take on the Cubs. They just shut out the Rockies in 3 straight games. They have 6 shutouts in their first 16 games. The only other team ever to have 6 shutouts in their first 16 games was the 1966 Cleveland Indians.
Right.
That 1966 Cleveland Indians starting staff, and in those days it was 4-man rotations. Gary Bell, Sam McDowell, Sonny Siebert, and Steve Hargan. But the best thing about the whole thing about that staff is their swingman. There's strike 3 called as Castro's down looking. Their swingman, who made 16 starts that year in 1966, was Louis Tiant.
Yes.
He was their 5th guy.
And he was 12-11 in 46 appearances, 16 starts. He was 2 years away in 68 in that pitcher's year, finishing 2nd in the Cy Young to Denny McLain.
McLain won 31 games that year, but Tiant in 68, I think, had a 1.68 ERA for the Indians. Everybody forgets how great he was that year. Everybody remembers Gibson and McLain.
Well, look how great he was with the Red Sox in the mid-70s. What a wonderful man.
2-0. I shortchanged him. It was a 1.68 average against a 1.60 ERA in 68. That 2nd lowest opponent's batting average in a full season, behind Pedro's great year in 2000.
You can make an argument for him to be in the Hall of Fame with 246 career wins.
And a lot of entertainment in those wins. A lot of cigars. That one great hot dog commercial he did when he came to the Yankees. It's great to be with a wiener.
Yes.
Great. Just fantastic. Speaking of, our friends are still here, bedecked as they are in hot dog regalia.
I mean, Tiant was a big part of that 1975 Red Sox team that lost to the Big Red Machine.
That was really his national stage, that World Series.
Yes.
Wallner fouls one back, and it's 3-2. Stanek trying to finish this one off for Clay Holmes. Holmes went the first 5, allowed a run on 2 hits, struck out 8. Huascar Brazoban, Reed Garrett, Ryan Stanek combined for 3 1/3 hitless innings of relief. This bullpen continues to shine. 3-2 to Wallner, and he loops one into shallow left center. That's going to fall for a base hit. So Wallner has the Twins' 3rd hit of the day. He has 2 of the 3. A triple and now a bloop single.
Inside. Just kind of sliced it out there over the shortstop's head.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Carlos Correa, who's 0 for 3. Alonso playing behind the runner at first. Correa takes a slider out of the strike zone for ball one. Edwin Diaz making sure that he's warm enough to warm up if called upon. Not yet. And Correa takes the fastball up and in. It's 2-0. Correa got ahead of that one and yanked it foul. 2-1. Carlos Correa, 9 for 58 to begin the year. No homers, 3 RBIs. Shocking. And such a good player. And he takes a strikeout with a fastball on the outer edge. 2-2. Wallner at first with 1 out. 5-1 New York, 9th inning. And Correa lays off. And now a full count.
Well, no walks.
Second straight full count for Stanek.
No free passes. 4-run lead in the 9th.
Trevor Larnach on deck. One more base runner, and I'm sure Diaz would get up. Three-two coming to Correa. In the air, shallow right along the line, and nobody's going to get there, and it lands untouched, a foul ball. Congratulations, got a souvenir.
Well, everybody in that orange and blue out there wants this game over and in the clubhouse in a warm, hot shower.
Stanek still with work to do. 3-2 to Correa. And he hits it in the air to left field. Nimmo easing over. And that's the second out. Wallner back to first. And the Twins are down to their final out of the night. Giants beat the Phillies tonight, so if the Mets win this game, they'd be 2 games up on the Phillies atop the National League East.
How about those Giants? What a surprise they've been.
12-4. Jung-Hoo Lee has been killing it. Wilmer Flores leads the league in RBIs. 1 more than Pete Alonso. Here's Larnach. And he takes first pitch slider for a strike. Larnach's been on base 3 times with a single and 2 walks. Rocco Baldelli promised shock if things didn't get better quickly. And they have not gotten better tonight for these Twins, who are now down to their final strike. Oh-2 coming. Up and away. 1-2 to Larnach. One-two from Stanek. In the dirt with a splitter. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Stanek throwing a lot of pitches in this 9th inning. 22 already. Would like to put on the finishing touches and
call it a night.
Go shake some hands. Now the 2-2.
Yes.
Struck him out, and the ball game is over. Ryan Stanek strikes out Trevor Larnach to end it. Clay Holmes allows just 2 hits over 5 for the win. Mark Vientos the go-ahead hit. Juan Soto, his second home run as a Met, and the Mets now 6 games over 500 as they beat the Twins 5-1.
Well, they keep rolling here and get the first win in the 3-game series. They're coming off of 4 straight series wins, and they get a good start here in Minneapolis on a very, very frigid night.
That pitcher struck out 13 tonight. Holmes fanned 8. The bullpen worked 4 innings scoreless on only 1 hit as the Mets get to 6 games over. Last year they didn't get to 6 games over till the 102nd game of the year. This year they've done it in the first 16. Mets win presented by Moo. Here's your game summary. Soto's second home run. Holmes with his second win. And the Mets now 11-5 on the season through the first 10th of the season. The Amazing Mets Foundation will contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cass Institute for Women's Health for every Mets win. For more information, visit northwell.edu/cats. The total contribution so far this season is $27,500. Mets win tonight 5-1 to take the opener of the series in Minneapolis. More coming up from the Twin Cities in just a moment.
Feed the moment.
Final score tonight, the Mets 5, the Twins 1. Game 2 of this series tomorrow night. Tyler McGill against Bailey Ober. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. Now for Keith Hernandez, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen in Minneapolis. After this break, it's Infinity Mets Postgame Live with Gary Apple and Jerry Blevins.
Pinterest for a quote that could save you.
There we go. It is Infinity Postgame Live. Gary Apple, Jerry Blevins back inside our New York City studios, and the Mets, they keep on rolling. They get the win, opening game of this 3-game series against the Minnesota Twins. 5-1 is the final at Target Field tonight on a raw, cold night in the Midwest. The Mets get the win. They've won 10 of their last 13 games. We're going to hear from the guy who I think aptly nicknamed the Polar Bear, playing right in the right climate for him tonight, coming up in just a moment. Let's go back out to Minnesota right now, get a look at our notes from this game. And the Mets took the lead in the third inning. Pete Alonso again in chilly Minnesota singles in Luis Angel Acuna, and it was 1-0. The Mets were in front of the Twins. Minnesota tied it in the fifth inning, had a chance for more, but Clay Holmes battled out of it. He struck out Byron Buxton right here. Big strikeout, and the game was tied at 1-1. The Mets then went back in front for good in the sixth inning. Mark Vientos, and man, Mark needed a big hit, and he gets one here. He shoots one the opposite way, doubles into right field. Alonso racing around from first. Mets had the lead. It was 2-1. Not sure what Castro was doing right there as he throws it at Vientos. I don't think anybody understood what he was doing there. Two batters later, should have been the end of the inning, but no. Justin Topa on a routine play throws it away. Mark Vientos racing around, and it was 3-1. The Mets were in command. And then Juan Soto put this game on ice in the seventh inning. That one is not coming back. He turns out on his second home run of the year. 405 feet to right field, 2-run bomb, 5-1 Mets at that point, and that was the final. Again, they win the opening game of this 3-game series. And good to see Juan Soto go yard in this one. Listen, the numbers have not been off the charts. He's been impactful for this team, but what was different about that at bat, Jer?
Yeah, it was safe to say that he wasn't locked in. You didn't see, the Soto shuffle. He didn't look as comfortable at the plate. Obviously, he's so good that even when he wasn't locked in, he was still having good results, still finding his way on base, still, putting the ball in play. He didn't look comfortable at the plate. He wasn't getting his swing off when he needed to, but this one is one that he's been missing over the last week plus. Didn't miss it. It's great to see him get a ball that was a mistake up, a little two-seamer that stayed up middle. This is his wheelhouse, and if he's missing that, then you're in a little bit of trouble, but he did not miss that one. Doesn't look worried. I don't think Juan Soto is too worried that he was in a slump. He doesn't feel it, but that was a sigh of relief for everybody over here because we don't want to have to try to talk about it because he's that good of a player. It's a relief to see him hit that home run, and it was a big one. It put the Mets ahead 2 runs, and again, just a very good positive sign for the guy that you're going to see for the next 15 years in a Mets uniform to not let it get too deep.
The amazing thing is here, despite the fact that he has not been at his very best, the OPS through these opening 17 games, he's got an OPS of 829.
Yeah, and his on-base percentage is over 400 still,
right?
Correct?
16 games, by the way, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between, a future Hall of Famer, this generation's Ted Williams, and a guy like me, that when I'm slumping, I'm never getting an out on the field. When he's slumping, he's getting on base twice. He's just not getting a ball in the gap.
All right, that home run, 107.9 off the bat by Juan Soto. So he had a big night. So did Pete Alonso, who was on base 4 times in the game. He had a couple of singles, knocked in a run, scored a run, 2 walks. A couple of moments ago, he had a chance to visit with Steve Gelbs.
Pete, I was talking to Eric Chavez the other day, and he said this is the best he's ever seen you. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a long time to have a good season. Again, I just want to be the best I can be every single day and just stay within my game plan.
800th hit. That number mean anything to you?
Oh, wow. Sick. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, I know I just mentioned that Chavez said you had the best version of you. For you, what is the best version of yourself?
Just controlling the strike zone, and when pitchers come over the plate, I put the ball in play hard.
What's been the most impressive thing about this pitching staff, both starters and relievers so far?
I mean, everybody's just been throwing the ball with conviction and moxie. I mean, they've been remarkable. No matter who's gotten the ball, everybody's just understood what they needed to do, and it's been great. It's been great.
Pete, appreciate the time. Go get warm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for doing that.
All right, guys, we thank you both. What about what Eric Chavez had to say, exactly what Steve was talking to Pete about right there? This is the best version that he has seen in Pete's career. Do you agree with that?
I mean, it's probably tied with, he's had stretches like this before in his career. This is definitely a very positive sign because we never saw this one time last year. He still had a good year.
Right.
He still hit, 34 home runs a year ago?
Correct, 88 RBIs.
88 RBI. I mean, that's not a bad year. But we didn't see a stretch like this. It was more cumulative. Right now, he is on fire. The good thing about it, and this is how hard baseball is, Gary. This is when he's going bad, he says the same things. He's like, I want to make good swing decisions. If a pitcher makes a mistake, I want to get the fat part of the bat to it and drive it out. I don't want to chase. These are all the same things that he's saying now. He's just actually executing them. It's so hard to hit a baseball. These guys are really good at their jobs. Joe Ryan strikes out the most guys, walks the fewest guys. He's a very good pitcher. And then you have guys in the back end of the bullpen. To stay as locked in as Pete Alonso is right now, I guess it's the best stretch that we've ever seen, but I'm sure he's had equal stretches throughout his storied career as a New York Met. But this is truly, like, he's not trying to overplay it because you can't do this. You can't ride the highs and then, be upset in the lows. He's trying to keep a level head because this is a marathon. This is so early. He hasn't had a good season. He can't just hang his cleats up and be like, I did it, guys. This is a long time, and they're going to need him throughout this season.
I think what makes it even more impressive is coming off what he came off this offseason. All the questions, was Pete going to come back here? He was a late signing. He came back. What was it going to be like when he went inside that clubhouse? Was his tail going to be between his legs, right? He signed late, didn't get exactly what he wanted. How was he going to react? Well, he's reacted just swimmingly. I don't think you could ask for much more than what he's given this team to this point.
I think you nailed it. There's so many emotions and involved in your former team. We talked about it with Luis Severino. He wanted to come. The Mets said no thanks. He said, I'll take less money than the A's offer him. They said, how about even less? That hurts your feelings. You're still a human being. He did a very good thing for the Mets. Pete Alonso is one of the best power hitters in the game, the preeminent, probably going to be the all-time home runs leader in a New York Mets uniform. He probably felt rejected a little bit and had to come back, not his tail between his legs, but he handled it like an absolute pro. Didn't get what he expected or what he feels he deserves, but he won't say it like that. Comes back where he wanted to be the whole time, and then to start off like this, you can't imagine how good that feels for him. Again, he's a pro. He wouldn't show it one way or the other because he's just trying to do the same thing every day, and it's hard. This is the difficult part of baseball, but it's definitely nice to see a run like this to start the year.
It is. It is really good to see for Pete and for the Mets. Again, they get the win tonight by a final of 5-1. They open up this 3-game series on a winning note. So Jerry and I just getting going here on Infinity Postgame Live. When we come back, we'll hear from the manager. We'll hear from Carlos Mendoza, what he saw out of Clay Holmes tonight. And also there's an update on Jose Siri. Is he heading for the injured list? We'll have an answer when we come back here in just a moment.
Infinity Postgame Live is presented by Infinity. Experience the Infinity lineup at your local retailer today.
strikes out the side in the opening inning. Struck him out. 5 batters, 4 strikeouts for Clay Holmes. A 2-run homer for Juan Soto. His second home run as a Met. Boy, he needed that, I'll say.
So the Mets get it done tonight in Minnesota. The bullpen, another big reason why. Brazoban, Garrett, Stanek gave the Mets really nice work. 4 innings of no-run baseball. Their collective bullpen ERA at this point is a $1.83. That is 3rd best in all of big league baseball. Winning pitcher was Clay Holmes. Let's get thoughts of the manager right now. Here is Carlos Mendoza.
Carlos, I feel like we ask you about the pitching every night, but what did you see, not just from Clay Holmes, but from the group overall again?
Really, really good. Coming in, attacking the strike zone. I think other than one inning from Clay that lost it a little bit, everyone else, Brazoban came in, attacked, Rick Garrett, Stanek. Overall, we've been doing a really good job of filling the strike zone with our best pitches, getting ahead, staying on the attack, and we're seeing the results. I think another good night overall, and we need to keep it going.
Aside from that one inning from Holmes, what did he do so well?
He was pretty nasty today. I thought all of his pitches for 3 innings, sitting there in the dugout, the sinker, the slider, the sweeper, the changeup, and then the four seam. I thought he used it effectively. I think he got Correa for, got a swing and miss for strike 3. Then he froze, can't remember who it was, for strike 3 on a four seam. So, just using all of his pitches, mixing it well. He was really, really good.
What do you think is going to be the key for him just to get a little bit deeper in starts here?
Yeah, I think that's part of the transition, But overall, I thought, especially today, when he lost it, I thought he kept making pitches. He kept finding a way to get back and limiting the damage, and gave us a chance, and I think he ended up getting the win, right? So I think it's just the consistency pretty much every inning, and he'll get there. He's got way too good of a stuff. So he'll get there.
It was nice to see Soto keep one fair there after his earlier.
Yeah, it's Juan Soto, so pretty impressive. So
we've talked a lot about Pete too earlier this year. What do you make of just the consistency of his at bats?
Yeah, really good. You said it. He's game after game, seems like, right? Controlling the strike zone, aggressive on pitches in the strike zone, like getting the barrel, getting the head out, making hard contact, using the whole field. Like he's dictating at bats right now, and that's pretty good to see from him.
When you see Vientos hit one with authority the other way like that, does that tell you he's getting close?
Yeah, he's getting close, and I feel like he's just not getting results. But overall, he's been giving us, for the most part, really good at bats. He gets the results. We haven't got any, but yeah, it's a good sign, especially a hitter like that. I think it was a sinker, and when he's doing that, those are some good signs for him.
How big was it to get what you did out of Acuna in the bottom of the lineup?
Yeah, we've been saying it too. Every time we get contributions from the bottom of the lineup, with what's behind them, it's important. And today, with Acuna, walk, double, got us going with a bunt single, stole a base. There's a lot of different ways that he can help us win baseball games, and he's doing that right now.
Vientos looked really confused when he got hit by that ball on second base.
I know. I thought he was going to pick it up and give it back to him.
Did you find out anything more about Siri?
Yeah, he's got a fractured tibia. The MRI showed a fracture, so we got to get more information before we know how long he's going to be out, but he's going to be out for a while.
Is that surprising? The X-ray?
Well, not really. The X-rays, with how much pain he was going through and watching him walk, and he could barely, we knew, that's why we sent him for a MRI CT scan today, and that's what he showed today.
Have you decided who you're going to bring here?
No, yeah, okay. I got to talk to David.
All right.
How does that impact the way you go about center field for potentially months?
Yeah, like I say, I got to talk to David to see what's the decision, who's the one coming up. Feel good with what we have here. Tyrone Taylor will continue to get a lot of opportunities. We'll prepare Winker to get more, and obviously Marte. So we feel good with our outfield depth. Unfortunate for Siri. But like I said, we like what we got here.
So I think the headline right there, the fractured tibia. Jose Siri found that ball off his shin in the second inning of Saturday's game in Sacramento. He was in extreme pain. He left the game and then has been on crutches ever since. So that's not great news right there. But as the manager just said, they've got backups. They've got Winker, they've got Marte, and I would think they're going to bring up another outfielder.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. First of all, speedy recovery to
yes,
Jose Siri.
Absolutely.
That's tough. That hurts.
It is.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting because, we're going to talk Acuna in a little bit. And to me, the dynamic that he brings to the plate might make him slide in. We saw it right on right today. He came in what was a platoon where Beatty comes in and faces righties. He faced a righty today, and he open the game. So I could see them not only putting Winker out there, maybe even Marte out there a little bit more, but putting Beatty out there to get some at-bats, maybe to spell somebody here and there out in left field, slide Nimmo over. Who knows? But the truth is they have the answer on the team already in Tyrone Taylor. And then we'll see if they bring up, I don't see them bringing up a major prospect to sit the bench. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, certainly will be the case. They thought about Beatty in the past. Whether they're going to give him those reps now in the big leagues, I'm not sure. We'll see. But as you say, we'll see who they're going to bring up. But certainly not great news for Jose Siri on this night. When Jerry and I come back here in a moment on Infinity Postgame Live, we are going to hear from Jose Siri to see how he took this news as, again, he went down in a heap on Saturday afternoon. We're coming back here in just a moment.
It was 2 for 2, by the way.
So the Mets, they led the Twins. It was 3-1 in the 7th inning, and that's when Juan Soto did this. He stood, he admired because he knew that was gone. 405 feet, 107.9 off the bat. His second home run of the year, second home run as a New York Met. 5-1 at that point, and that was the final. So let's hear from Juan Soto as we go back inside the Mets clubhouse at Target Field.
Juan, prior to the home run, you had just missed 2. Did you feel like something was coming?
I mean, I was feeling good the whole game, so I was just trying to stay locked in and try to make good swings.
When you're feeling good, when you say you're feeling that good, what does that feel like for you?
I mean, I was seeing the pitch as well. I was taking my swings on the fastball and taking those change-up sliders down below. So I was seeing everything. So that's why I felt good.
You did it?
Last season, you didn't go, I think, more than 8 games without a home run. What was that like just early in the season, just to try and get that power back?
I'm not trying to hit a homer at all. I mean, we're trying to play team baseball right here. So whenever I got to take my walks, I'm going to take my walks. Definitely we're trying to have either way, but I don't mind. That's baseball. Things are going to happen. We just got to keep trying out there and try to do our best to help the team.
Speaking of team baseball, what has impressed you the most about the pitching staff as a whole so far?
I think they're pretty good. Definitely, they've been doing a really good job. I feel like the bullpen has been great, and our starter's been setting the table for the bullpen. So I think we are in a good shape right now.
I know you saw Clay in a different role last year, but when he's at his best, like he was, especially early in the game today, what is it that makes him so difficult?
I mean, he's great. I feel like his angles and how the ball moves. I mean, I feel like he's just throwing wiffle balls on there. I mean, the balls move so much, and the velocity too. I mean, it's really uncomfortable at that.
I think one of the things we notice about Juan Soto, he is all business. He is the business of baseball, and the numbers are generational, as we've spoken about. He spoke about Luis Angel Acuna, who hit in the 9-hole. The manager went with him against the righty, Joe Ryan. He paid big-time dividends. He's a little bit of a game changer down there in the lineup. Jared, what does he bring to this team?
You nailed it. He brings a set of skills that nobody else on the team has. He's got dynamic speed, and he put it on display today. A good job by Mendoza to get this guy at the bottom of the order to do something. He worked a walk, got a huge stolen base here to get himself into scoring position, and I could watch a guy like this run all day. It looks like fun. I wish I could run fast like this. Smooth, pretty special stuff. And then after this, he gets a double to get himself into scoring position again. Speed changes the game. He will always be dynamic, always putting the defense on the defensive, and then this is huge. This is what a speed guy does. Lays down a bunt, a pitcher has to hurry up to put a good throw on first, and he forces an error to get into, guess what, scoring position. He's in second, ready to be driven in, and that is who was on second base when Soto was there. Maybe if he doesn't get to second base, he doesn't mess with the pitching to have a guy like Soto get a ball down the middle. Who knows? But what I do know is he creates havoc better than anybody else on the team. The team just isn't designed to have guys with speed. This is what they brought Marte in a few years ago to be like that. He isn't that anymore, and he'll admit it. This is what Luis Angel Acuna is right now.
He is making the most of this opportunity he's been given, and certainly paid big-time dividends tonight in Minnesota. We also heard the manager speak about Mark Vientos, and he's insisted that Vientos, the numbers really have not been there so far this year, but he's insisted the at-bats have been good. He's been hitting the ball hard. He has just been a little bit unlucky, but he broke the 1-1 tie, put the Mets ahead for good. What did you take out of that at bat from Mark?
Yeah, I agree with Mendoza. Like, he hasn't been as locked in as Pete Alonso, but he has been putting really good swings on it, and this was a huge sign. When he's going to right center field, he gets a good sinker against a very good pitcher and drives it with 104 plus miles per hour into the gap. That's the sign that everything's going right, because he's got this big swing, like he's got these long arms. His damage is everything close. So when the ball is in the middle and he's capable of taking the barrel and really pushing that ball to right center, that's when he's at his best, and he put a big swing on it in a big moment of this ball game.
Yep, good to see Mark get a hit. He's gonna get going. I think they're going to start falling. Yeah, I would agree with that. Again, one of the headlines tonight, following the game tonight, the news that Jose Siri is heading for the injured list, suffering a fractured tibia. The injury happened here in the second inning of Saturday's game against the A's in Sacramento. He fouls one off his shin. Right there, he went down, ended up having to be carted off the field. Initial x-rays were negative, but the MRI and the CAT scan showed the fractured tibia. So let's hear from Jose Siri right now.
Jose, were you surprised when you got the second result back?
Que si tú estabas sorprendido cuando te dieron esos resultados.
Claro que sí, porque yo hubiera dicho que no era como para que esté fracturado.
Yeah, of course, because I had said that I didn't think it was that serious for it to be a fracture.
What is the level of disappointment right now, knowing it's going to be a couple of months at least?
Que el nivel como de qué mal tú te sientes, que tú vas a estar fuera un par de meses.
No sé, cada cuerpo es diferente. Eso ya con el transcurso de la semana y los días vamos a ir chequeando, vamos a ir viendo. El cuerpo mío se recupera rápido.
You know, it's obviously disappointing. whenever something like that happens. But at the same time, we're not gonna get too ahead of ourselves. I'm probably gonna reevaluate probably within the next week to see how it is. Everybody's different. I'm a quick healer, so hopefully something good can come out of it.
What do they tell you about how long this usually takes?
¿Qué te han dicho que cuánto dura una lesión como esta?
No sé, no dijeron nada, solamente que estaba fracturado y no dijeron más nada.
No, they haven't given me a timeline or anything. All they said was that it was that there was a fracture, but nothing to this point.
You said reevaluate in a week. That means more tests at that time?
Que tú dijiste que vamos a ver la semana que viene. Eso significa que van a hacer más exámenes y más imágenes.
Bueno, de imágenes se van a hacer, pero como quiera hay que esperar porque para cualquier persona algo fracturado se toma su tiempo.
Yeah, I'm assuming the images are going to be taken, but just like any other fracture for any other person, after time, the bone starts to get better and starts to heal. So probably within the week, we'll probably start feeling better.
Is this anything that might require surgery?
Que si esto es algo que puede requerir una operación.
No lo creo, es que no es algo de que roto como el hueso roto de que así, pero algo que puede manejarse solo.
No, I don't think surgery is going to be needed. Just from the conversations that we had, it seems like this is something that's going to heal on its own.
What is just the directive from the doctors at this point, just to kind of keep weight off the leg? They told you.
¿Qué te han dicho los doctores que tú debes hacer para que se mejore?
No tomar, guardar reposo y hacer mi cosa en el training room, mi hielo y eso para que la inflamación se vaya y se cure más rápido.
Yeah, well, they said not to drink. That was first, but no, but they told me to go into the training room to ice up, to do everything that I need to do, whether it's in the training room, whether it's in the weight room, and to just keep weight off of it.
So that is definitely disappointing news for Jose Siri. That's a man with great speed, defensive ability in center field, has some power. He's gotten off to a slow start offensively this year, but they will miss Jose Siri.
You feel for the human.
Yes, you do. You wish for a speedy recovery there for Jose Siri. More to get to here on Infinity Postgame Live. When we come back, we're going to hear from Clay Holmes. He was the starting and the winning pitcher for the New York Mets tonight. 5 innings, 2 hits and a run. He struck out 8. That's 18 strikeouts now over his last 2 starts. We'll hear from Clay on the other side of a break.
Infinity Postgame Live is presented by Infinity. Experience the Infinity lineup at your local retailer today. Fanatics.
I'm Eamon McEnany. Coming up on Honda Sports Night, the regular season is over, and now the Knicks have their sights set on the Detroit Pistons. Plus, Paige Beckers goes from the top of the
Amen. Look forward to that coming up here in just a few minutes. Clay Holmes was the starting and the winning pitcher for the Mets tonight at Target Field. 5 innings, 2 hits and a run, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks. Got himself into trouble there in that 5th inning. Was able to battle out of it, giving up just the 1 run, and that was huge. Let's hear from Clay right now.
Clay, especially the first few innings there, was that the best consistent stretch you felt you've had so far?
Yeah, I was feeling good early there. I had the changeup working. I was in competitive, some good spots with the sinkers. Just I could really kind of was pitching off those 2. So yeah, I mean Louis did a good job calling the pitches and kind of establishing a pretty good rhythm and game plan going in. It's just a matter of executing, and it's nice when you have the changeup working and you're on the attack. I feel like when I'm in good counts that I can just allow my pitches to work, and it sets a lot of things up for me.
Even that 1 inning where you lost it a little bit, Mendoza was saying that he just thought you did a great job making the pitches you had to when you needed to. In a situation like that, is that kind of how the mentality switches? Like, all right, it might not be what it was, but now's the moment where I've got to make a big pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I've been had some good innings there before that, and then ran into trouble there. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely frustrating, but you kind of switch the mode from allowing the bases to be loaded to hey, now we got to do some damage control. And I thought it was a good mound visit there, with Hef and with Louis. Threw a couple sliders, just kind of get the release back out front. I was able to get the sinker back competitive and got the sac fly, and was able to hold him there. And just be able to really do some damage control and really just stop that momentum. I think it was huge just because, what our offense is capable of. And, to not, give up the lead, or go down and, really just put, trust in the offense and in the bullpen. It was huge, and I was glad we was able to get out of that one.
Was it just losing the release point on that sinker that led to the control issues there?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really so much sinkers was everything. I think, just the innings, the elements, the rain, all that stuff was really starting to add up, and sometimes you try to almost push through it too much when you kind of have to pull back a little bit. And I felt myself, because I felt so good all day, I felt like myself trying to almost do more when it was kind of getting away there, and just had to take a breath and kind of reset and. Really just kind of get that release point back and just trust the pitches are going to work, not really try to overdo it there, especially with those conditions.
I think one of the things, Jared, that he spoke about, I thought, and we noticed it during the course of the game, he said that mound visit by Jeremy Hefner there in that 5th inning was really big. Hefner came out, they had a chat, and then he got the fly out, the sac fly, and then the fielder's choice and the strikeout to get out of the inning. It could have been a much bigger inning for Minnesota, and he limited the damage right there. So what did you take out of that?
That was huge, and I wrote that down. It was the mound visit.
Yes.
He mentioned Luis Torrens as well, and Hef coming out, and then what he said after that was, if I am reading the signs correctly, they told him to throw a couple of sliders and find that release point because it was gone. He was so nasty those first 4 innings. He had everything working. We were talking about where that changeup was. He had guys swinging and missing over all of his pitches, locating well. Everything was moving properly. Then in the 5th inning, it disappeared. He went from unhittable to almost unpitchable. The bases were loaded. It was a 1-0 game, and then they got tied. That mound visit, he came out, and they made the adjustment. He found the adjustment. Hopefully this is something that he can move to in the future, where he's like, all right, I've lost my release point. What do I need to do? Well, it worked for me in Minnesota. I need to get to that slider and find it out, because every pitcher has something that they can do to get back to it. And usually as a bullpen guy, you learn that quicker because you don't have, 5 innings to play with. You have 3 batters. You find out whatever it is you need to make that adjustment. I always talked about it inside of 3 pitches. That's how fast you need to make the adjustment as a reliever. Clay Holmes didn't find that. This has been the Achilles heel of his entire career, is he goes from unhittable to unpitchable because he can't find his release point for chunks of the season. This is something that as a starting pitcher, you can kind of gloss over it a little bit more and you can figure it out. But if he found it, that it's his slider. All right, I've lost it a little bit. Take a deep breath. Whoever's catching comes out and talks to him. Get to your slider. If it's working that way, you know the adjustment that you have to make. Hopefully that's the key for him to get out of it quicker.
It is a process for him, certainly, right? Making this move from the bullpen, being a closer, and then becoming a starting pitcher. But he is the winning pitcher tonight. Goes to 2-1 on the season. Middle game of this 3-game series. Mets and the Twins coming up tomorrow evening at Target Field. And Tyler McGill's going to be on the mound for the Mets. He's coming off his first defeat of the season, last time out against the Marlins, a 5-0 shutout defeat. He went 4+ in that game, 6 hits, couple of runs. Neither run was earned, 7 punch-outs and 3 walks through 90 pitches in that game. So we get a look at numbers here. Heads Up, brought to you by Infiniti. Tyler McGill, he's been really good since the end of last season. Bailey Ober is going to be on the mound for Minnesota. That is a big man. He is 6'9", 280 pounds. He will be daunting, although he got beat up pretty badly in his first 2 starts this year. And the Mets looking to wrap up their 5th consecutive series victory. And so that's going to wrap up our coverage of Mets baseball on this night. Jerry and I back along with you. Our pregame coverage, City Pregame Live, getting underway at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. We hope you'll join us for that. That's it. For Jerry Blevins, I'm Gary Apple. We thank you for joining us here on the postgame show. Coming up following a break, it's Honda Sports Night. Enjoy that. We'll see you tomorrow. So long.